Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Jalen Williams has his pass deflected. Haliburton steals it into the open floor. He got it to Siakam, who threw down the right-hand tomahawk. It's a 20-point lead.
Yeah, Pacers Radio Network, Perloff, you were looking for your highlight from these finals. You may have gotten it tonight if the Pacers can actually pull this thing off in 7 games. The no-look pass, the steal, the no-look pass from Haliburton, the slam dunk by Siakam, and that was just sort of a microcosm of the whole game. It was a beatdown by the Pacers, and hey, we get a do or die.
Yeah, I mean, that play made me think about something. Jalen Williams had one of the worst finals games in history.
Yeah, after having one of the best.
Is that going to kill his confidence going to Game 7? Was that signature play enough? Like, did the Pacers kill the Thunder last night on that specific play? Was that the death knell, or can the Thunder rebound? Because if Jalen Williams and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander play half that bad in Game 7, it's obviously over.
Yeah.
But they looked so disinterested last night.
I know, and I'm shocked.
You guys are aware this is Game 6 of the NBA Finals and not, the 64th game in February?
No, it was bad, and it's an indictment on OKC. It's certainly an indictment on Shai. The 8 turnovers, uncharacteristic and weird because the Pacers actually were not picking them up full court, which is one of the things they've been doing throughout the series and the playoffs. Something about the Rick Carlisle adjustments last night / I think Tyrese Haliburton coming out, dealing with that calf strain, but looking as good as he did, I think gave confidence to the entire team. They were actually missed their first 8 shots in the game and then turned it around midway through the first quarter. It was a blowout in the second quarter, and then OKC didn't score for the first 6 minutes of the third quarter. I mean, it was a drought. I think that this is a terrible, terrible indictment on Shai. If we're going to give him, obviously the MVP, he deserves that, but if you're also going to give him like the star treatment, Pearl, and I know that you're saying he's not really that star yet. He's not that superstar. This series is lacking a superstar. But don't we have to hold him to the highest standard?
So are you talking about his play or his leadership? Like, because everyone around, as bad as he was, Jalen Williams obviously worth minus 40 on the night, and it's plus minus. Chet Holmgren was worse.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are young.
Lou Dort was worse.
All young.
Everybody no-showed last night, and Mark Daigneault looked like he was taking a nap the entire game. He didn't make one adjustment. He had the 2 bigs out there when the Pacers, their eyes got so big when they saw Hartenstein and Holmgren getting out on the perimeter trying to defend. I think the coaching was terrible. Everybody was terrible. So I think what you're saying is, as a superstar, he's got to lift everybody. Forget the 8 turnovers. But I think he was trying, at least. I thought his effort level was at least medium. I thought the effort level, when Jalen Williams threw the ball just straight at TJ McConnell, it was like, he seemed like he didn't even care. I just thought the apathy of the rest of the Thunder. Was Lou Dort on the court last night? What happened to that guy?
Great question.
What happened to Alex Caruso? Remember Alex Caruso from earlier playoff games? He was actually in the game. He wasn't hurt. He was there last night.
Which is funny. They always say the role players play better at home, but I'm like, really?
Wow.
So here's the thing, though, about Jalen Williams. I'm not going to hold Jalen Williams to the same standard as Shai. Jalen Williams is in his 3rd year. This is the first time he's making an all-star game. We told him, we talked to Jeff Goodman, who covers college hoops. You said, how unlikely is it that Jalen Williams is the second best player on a finals team? He said, totally unlikely. Shai is the MVP. Shai has been here. He is now the future and face maybe of the league, along with Jokic and Luka and Anthony Edwards and a couple other guys. But he's on that short list of people we think are going to bring the NBA into the next era. You can't play like that in a Game 6. Forget the Michael Jordan comparisons. I mean, get out of here. I'm surprised the Jordan crowd isn't just throwing their arms up again. Anthony Edwards last year with the Jordan comparisons. Now it's Shai. Stop comparing this guy to Jordan. I know it's just how he plays and how he looks on the court, not the killer instinct, but obviously that killer instinct is not there.
I'm going to defend Shai. I think it was, you said about the role players not playing well on the road. Right?
Yeah.
It is.
Well, everyone played bad last night.
Yeah, but I thought Shai, listen, yeah, Shea was terrible, but at least Shea could hit a shot. Like the role players, they were hitting their threes in Game 5. I actually said this. I'm like, well, I don't think they're going to hit those threes again in Game 6.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't hit a single shot last night. Let's look at the 3-point percentage. Chet Holmgren 0 for 3. Jalen Williams 0 for 4. Lou Dort 1 for 5. You go down the list, nobody could hit a shot. So Shea is like, well, these guys aren't doing it. I'm going to try and take it on myself to score, and that's what he got into trouble because he kept dribbling, and the Pacers were able to steal the ball from him. So I think Shea was feeling the people around him a little bit, being like, well, these guys have not shown up at all. I got to do everything. And he tried to be Superman, and that's why he had all those turnovers. That's my defense of Shea, for what it's worth.
Well, I mean, admirable. I don't think the jury's going to buy it. I mean, through 3 quarters, because the fourth quarter was not a game, he played less than 11 minutes. He was 1 for 4, did not attempt a 3, 4 for 4 from the line with 2 assists and 3 turnovers and 6 points. Dude, like, I'm sorry. I don't want to just, like, reduce it down to something that simple because you're right. The whole team didn't play well. But to say, like, well, at least he was trying out there. No kidding. Of course
but
he's trying.
The other guys weren't trying. The effort was very, very low.
No, it was subpar.
Like, if there was a loose ball, that was all the Pacers last night. Like, where are your hustle guys? Let me give you a couple more numbers. Alex Caruso played 22 minutes. He was minus 33 in his plus-minus. He was terrible.
Well,
and Chet Holmgren, first possession of the game, starts putting the ball on the ground, driving the hoop, and everyone in the whole building knows that shot's not going in. And the Pacers are feeding off that and going the other way. Again and again and again, the Thunder played right into the Pacers' hands. That was coaching last night. And here's another question. Haliburton, much more of a killer instinct than Shea. I will give you that. Who has a better... If you put that poll up, who has more of a killer instinct? It's no doubt Haliburton.
Well, that's also today, you know.
Yeah, but no, Haliburton, I think... Haliburton's got that killer instinct thing, that Kobe thing. Shea's got the talent. So I got to see Shea. Shea's a much better player, but as far as sort of competitiveness, I think Haliburton might have a little edge. That doesn't mean that he's going to win Game 7.
Sure.
But the Thunder have a better team. I think the Pacers have just a better mentality.
I mean, it was
talent-wise.
It was impressive last night what the Pacers did. I don't know if anyone was expecting. First of all, Pacers come out and miss their first 8 shots. Then you're like, oh no, like this is going to be the long goodbye here on their home court. They turned it around, and it was a whitewash. And it was those highlight plays, the one we played for you at the top of the show, which was obviously the Haliburton steal, no look pass, Siakam dunk. Then Siakam beats the buzzer before the end of the first half, and then you had. Why am I blanking on his name? Who hit the buzzer beater at the end of the third quarter? Ben Shepherd, thank you. Those small things, I think, are just such killers, and it just extinguished any spark that OKC had. But to be honest, like, I don't know if any of that matters for Game 7. I really don't.
Well, yeah. I mean, will the Pacers players, will Obi Toppin start raining threes like Steph Curry?
Not on the road.
Yeah, that's the thing. Will Nembhard hit his threes? He has not hit him in OKC as well.
Yep.
I think he's been a much better shooter.
He was excellent last night.
Yeah, he hit his threes. So the Pacers, again, it might come to outside shooting. I got to tell you, though.
And the turnovers, which has been the story of this whole series.
Yeah, I think the Thunder made a huge mistake last night.
Tell me.
I feel like they were about 8 minutes in, started thinking about Game 7. I think they should have maybe gone all in to try and win, because if it's a close game in Game 7, the Thunder have not been here before. I think, as EJ pointed out, coming into the playoffs, the Thunder don't know close games. They'd blown out everybody. Like, we don't know anything about them in the clutch.
Well, they did play Game 7 against Denver, though.
Well,
but that game ended up being a blowout.
That game was a blowout. What if Game 7 was close? Who would you give the advantage to in a close Game 7 with all that pressure?
It's got to be Haliburton.
Yep.
Doesn't it? I mean...
Well, just the clutch,
today.
that Haliburton's incredible clutch. Well, the Pacers' incredible clutch numbers. Every clutch game they've won except for one. What are they? 9-1 in close games.
It does feel a little prisoner moment on the other side of that glass. Because it's not like Shea didn't just close them out in a crucial Game 5. It's not like he didn't close out the Nuggets in Game 7.
Yeah,
Game 4. I'm sorry. Jalen Williams closed them out in Game 5, a crucial Game 5. Like, the Thunder have had their moments in this postseason. Haliburton is very, very dangerous in the last minute of a game.
Right.
Maybe, I don't know, in terms of closing an entire game, I'm not sure I'd take him over Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I think it's more of like, I think both teams, I think this is setting up to be an awesome Game 7. I think you're going to see a close game. I don't know who has the edge, but I don't know if Thunder, I'd say no chance in a close game. They definitely have a shot.
They do, but here's the weird thing. Here's the thing about that. What has to happen for the Haliburton magic? First of all, he's got to be healthy. Well, a comeback, sure. But he's also got to be healthy.
Well,
and I think that got put to bed last night.
Yeah,
he looked totally fine. He looked beyond fine. They looked like they were playing at double speed than OKC.
So we got that part.
Yeah, so we have that.
Well, I just think if you ask anybody, if there's 30 seconds left in the game, say it goes down to really, really the end, I just think everyone's going to be like, oh, this is the Pacers game. I'm talking about really, really close.
Right.
The game where, was it game 4 where Shea basically saved the season, that didn't come down to the last second. Luckily for the Thunder, they got a little bit of a lead. This is going to be great. I mean, you got to, obviously I looked at the odds. I actually put a live bet. This morning I woke up and I bet on the Pacers because the odds are huge against them. Like,
I was going to say,
Vegas
about to
does
look
not
at
like
it.
the Pacers. I think the OKC, I think it was plus 265 on the money line for the Pacers. I think they think the shooting is going to dry up. And, the Thunder home court advantage has been very substantial. Maybe I am a prisoner of the moment.
Pacers have been an amazing road team, including stealing game 1 in OKC.
Yeah, I mean, but you could see those role players are much more comfortable. Obi Toppin, I can't see him shooting like that again.
You're right. Plus 260 right now. The Pacers are in game 7. So that means OKC minus 325. That's a healthy favorite. And
Yeah,
the spread's
I mean,
8.5.
Why would you bet on OKC for that number?
No, you can't.
It is. This is nerve-wracking. Oh, my God. This is
Wait, will you
tense.
finally admit that this is a good finals or
Good,
no?
good in what's that? No, I mean, it's the style, except for that one no-look pass and dunk. The style is so boring. I mean, it's dribble, 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 mid-range, dribble, 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 mid-range, dribble, dribble.
Well, you know what? I think it's just not going to happen, EJ. It's just not going to happen. Perloff's not going to be convinced that this is entertaining.
When you say Perloff, replace Perloff with America, and that's an accurate statement.
Well, let's talk to America. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. We're lucky we get to talk to America every day. Are people finally into this one? Is that the poll question? You
I would
did
not
get your highlight, finally.
Yeah, I would not expect any calls on that topic.
Well, I also, who do you trust in a close game is a fair question. That one a little bit harder to answer. Do you trust the MVP in SGA, or do you trust Haliburton because of what we've seen in this final? Game winner after game winner, after clutch moment after clutch moment. And to be honest, like, first of all, Indiana's got to be killing themselves. I don't want to bring up old stuff about game 4. They had the lead with 3 minutes left to go, and Shea took that game over. And you got to be thinking, man, you could have gone up 3-1. Okay, so that's got to, maybe that's in your head, maybe it's not. It'd be in my head if I was Indiana. Like, we got a game 7. We're huge underdogs, but like we could have had this thing. The woulda, coulda, shouldas have to be killing
but
you.
if the Thunder win game 1, then the series changes too. So you could go both ways. on
Right,
that.
I guess you're right about that. And then obviously with the Haliburton, if they had just left TJ McConnell in, but in game 5. But I think that Rick Carlisle's off the hook now. He got a lot of criticism, in my opinion, way too much. Because are you really not going to put Haliburton, the guy who has been amazing at the end of games, who really has pulled things out of his you-know-where, because of a calf strain, even though he's out on the court, you're really going to not go with that guy in the heat of the moment?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't think any of us would have the stones to do that. We say it now after the fact. It's fine for Stephen A. to step up there and be like, oh, you should have put McConnell. I just don't think that was realistic.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are going to look back on the series and say there was a big coaching advantage to Indiana.
Right, exactly. But that was not the rhetoric after game 5.
That seemed like, in the moment, it seemed like a big mistake. That was probably capturing the moment. I mean, obviously, Mark Daboll did not have it. I don't know why he's pulling a Tom Thibodeau and he has so little faith in his bench that got him here. Like, why? I mean, you clearly, Jalen Williams throws the ball to the other team 3 times in a row. Like, you might want to rest that guy. You might want to pull him out. He's just, to me, he's got to use that bench. He has no faith in guys who got him here. He's given the guys on the bench like 2 minutes a run. They miss one shot. He's pulling them out. I think he kind of misplayed this entire series. So Indiana just seems fresher. They're much more confident in their bench. The second TJ McConnell comes on the court, it's like, all right, here comes the run. I just don't understand what Daigneault's doing here.
How about chants of TJ in the building last night and Obi? I don't even know if there was a Haliburton chant, but definitely Obi, definitely TJ.
Usually it's the bench guys who get those kind of chants, those random chants.
Definitely the 2 best players on the court last night.
TJ and Obi Toppin?
Well, I think they're 2 leading scorers for the Pacers, weren't they?
Yeah, but I mean, Siakam, how do we still not give this guy enough love?
He's awesome.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I tweeted this last night. There's times he looks like the best player in the league. I mean,
Exactly. You
moments.
wonder why America's not focused on this series. It takes like that.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I got irrationally mad about something last night that happened before the game even started. So have you guys noticed they started doing the intros and televising the intros?
Yes.
Dynamite. Like, I'm into it. And they do the hype video for the home team, obviously. Like, we've all been to a professional sporting event. You do the hype video before the home team gets introduced, so the crowd gets all riled up. There's like one Siakam highlight in there. 16 Obi Toppin highlights. No wonder they're chanting his name. But why is there no Siakam?
Because America doesn't care about Pascal Siakam.
Indiana should. He's their player.
Exactly. I rewound it and watched it again. There's no highlights in their own created hype video of the guy who's the second most important person on the floor if they're going to win a finals.
Because nobody wants a turnaround jumper in a hype video.
He's dunking the ball last night like a
Last night, that wasn't,
dunk.
you said pregame.
Okay.
Pascal Siakam hasn't had a dunk like that his entire NBA career.
Last night.
You're going to have, just a relentless turnaround jumper from 9 feet away doesn't make a hype video.
Well, put it to music, a couple flashbangs, and it's a highlight. Come on. They got a highlight out of
in your head, real quick, thought exercise. Think of the second most exciting Pascal Siakam play ever. He was there when Kawhi Leonard hit that shot that rattled around the rim. He was on the court.
He was cooking Draymond Green in that finals.
He was huge in that finals.
Yeah, a lot of bang and turnaround jumper. Wow, exciting. What else is on?
Effective. Who do you trust more in a tight game? Is it the MVP, SGA, or is it Tyrese Haliburton? Do you have a definitive answer on that?
We should put that poll up.
I think it's Haliburton.
Oh, yeah. Because it's this clutch thing. He's Haliburton's like Eli Manning. He doesn't feel it. I just, some guys look forward to that moment. That's just the way sports is.
Let us know. Okay, so we got a blowout last night, but still interesting because we get to a Game 7. That's going to be on Sunday. We have an update for you on one of our favorite quarterbacks, Shedeur Sanders. What's the latest on him going way too fast in whatever car he's driving, whatever color it is? Everyone knows.
We know it was not brown.
I don't know. Apparently, I'm colorblind, and it took Shedeur Sanders' car for me to realize that. Sad day for me. But will now 2 different traffic stops actually have an impact on him in this quarterback battle? I've got a thought on that. So does Perloff. We'll get to it. 888-710-4ISN. In the meantime, more clutch player, SGA Haliburton. Let's go.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. All right, we break down the NBA Finals. I'm fired up about this story about Shedeur Sanders. You tease it. So Shedeur Sanders got caught going 101 in a 60-mile-an-hour zone. That was yesterday's story.
Yes.
And then it was revealed yesterday afternoon, I believe, that there was a second speeding ticket.
Yes, there was a second speeding ticket where he was going 95 or 91 in a 65.
Yeah, which is actually more close to a normal. Like, I think even people in this room have probably done that.
I mean, touching 90, I know he's driving fancy cars. Maybe it can get out of hand, but when you touch 90, you know what you're doing. That's tough.
My only defense yesterday was like a lot of athletes have got it. Even this offseason, a lot of athletes got caught going over 100, and nobody pays attention to it. Zach Edey, there's a story that came out yesterday, was 101 in a 55. Nobody cares. Everything is amplified with Shedeur Sanders because Shedeur gets clicks. I mean, Shedeur is the name. He's the Caitlin Clark of the NFL. Everyone is obsessed with Shedeur. So my only concern is we're maybe overreacting to these speeding tickets. And secondly, I think also people are seeing it as an off-ramp from their ridiculous overtakes that he had won the starting job because he was throwing at 80% in the 7-on-7 drills. So that was a thing. That was a huge national thing. People were putting out these stats, whereas 7-on-7 stats were like, well, he's the best quarterback in camp. They won't even let him play with the first string. And people out there, national big-time people are calling him the starter. I just feel like it's a pendulum, the way we cover athletes. You build them up, tear them down. If Shedeur doesn't get cut for all this and goes out in preseason as a 2-touchdown game, then all the people who jumped off the bandwagon this week will be right back on.
Well, I mean, listen, you follow the news, you react to the news, right? I'm not going to fault people for that. But here's the thing about Shedeur where I completely disagree with you. You think that his last name has really hurt him, and I will agree. Maybe in the draft he got a lot of extra hype, and I just don't think they all handled that well. Whether it was Dion or whether it would have been Tom Brady's kid, like they just didn't handle the pre-draft process well at all.
I agree with that.
Okay. this is an instance where his last name helps him. I know that it becomes more of a story because his name is Shedeur Sanders, but he's not going to be out of this quarterback competition because his name is Shedeur Sanders. He wasn't drunk. He was reckless, of course, like driving that fast. He's going to have speeding tickets, and the Browns said that he's going to pay the speeding tickets. They didn't say anything about discipline. They're not trying to publicly embarrass him. In fact, it's the opposite. They're going to try to publicly shield him from this. And that four-way quarterback battle, or whatever you think, however the Browns are going to do this with keeping 3 quarterbacks or 4, which would be crazy, but keeping 3 most likely, this is not going to hurt him in any way, and his fame helps him here. If this was any run-of-the-mill fifth-round quarterback who was a lot more anonymous, then kiss it goodbye after 2 speeding tickets like this. Shedeur does not hurt him at all.
Nobody drafts a quarterback in the 5th round and cuts him in camp. That's not normal, because usually teams don't have 4 quarterbacks on their roster. If you and I could be dead wrong about this. You show me a 5th-round quarterback who got cut in training camp, I would be surprised.
Okay, but how about maybe not cut, but banished? Like put even further to the back of the line.
He's already banished.
But he's not.
Way at the back. He's so far at the back of the line. It's incredible. He never got to work out with the first team. He was always 4th in every single drill.
But that's OTAs. Let's see what happens for training camp.
There's no doubt he will be 4th string, according to every single Browns reporter.
Okay, well, let's just see how it plays out. I'm not saying he's going to unseat Flacco, but I do believe there's the ideas about maybe Pickett gets traded again or whatever. I don't think we know exactly how this Browns quarterback competition is going to play out. That's the bottom line. And when it regards to this story, where he gets pulled over for speeding, we're talking about Shedeur Sanders, where he gets pulled over for speeding going 100 and a 60, and then it turns out he had another speeding ticket from 2 weeks ago where he was going 90 and a 65. These stories do not hurt him because he's Shedeur Sanders. Do you get my logic there? He's too famous now for it to impact him.
I think we wouldn't even... Maybe if he's a quarterback, but you wouldn't know. If he was a wide receiver, I don't even think we'd be paying attention. If he was a random wide receiver with the Titans. Yeah, Rashee Rice, because of what happened. I mean, I think you don't, and we both don't know how many players have been caught, even this year, with similar incidents.
Well, luckily nothing bad happened. He got caught, but luckily there was no drinking, there was no suspicion of drugs, there was no accident, no one else was harmed. But that doesn't mean that it's not reckless. I mean, you know what you're doing when you're going 90. I mean, hit a pebble in the road and,
like, for example, I actually looked at some of these. I did not know that Hollywood Brown was clocked at 126 miles an hour and arrested. I can never pronounce his name, but Jamin Davis was well over 120. There's been just a ton of arrests. This is something that happens in pro sports, speeding. I mean, listen, in Philly, we lost the great Jerome Brown to this incident, and obviously we know Rashee Rice.
The entire Georgia football team has had issues with all this.
So this happens. I just think that everything is amplified. Well, you will give me that everything is amplified with Shedeur Sanders because he's a Sanders.
Right. It becomes a story that's on a stack on ESPN.com, no doubt, and we're talking about it, but I don't think it hurts him in a quarterback race, like in a quarterback battle. That's where the distinction is. Because if he was an anonymous guy, if it was Kyle McCord or something like, and Kyle McCord played for Ohio State, I get that. But if it was somebody, it was Will Howard or Kyle McCord or someone like that who was a late round pick, I just think that this could really hurt them ever being a part of this quarterback battle. Shedeur, I do not think it hurts him. Because I think the organization's going to go out of their way not to embarrass him, publicly chastise him out of deference for him and Deion.
Listen, I mean, we've seen late round quarterbacks. My favorite is what's the guy? He was the Broncos back. He's the son of a player, and he just kept on getting in massive trouble.
No, it was Jim Kelly's nephew.
Nephew, right?
Yeah.
He kept
Chad Kelly.
Chad Kelly kept on getting more and more chances, despite like all sorts of crazy things.
Exactly, his last name. If he was just some regular Joe, he would have been gone.
You're saying Chad Kelly's last name kept him around? No, because if Will Howard or Kyle McCord, if teams thought he could play for 101 and a 60, you think they would be teams would pick up that speeding ticket in a second. Honestly, I don't think teams care. Everyone wants Hollywood Brown.
I think last names matter for this kind of stuff. I do.
I think position matters. I mean, I think if a wide receiver or a defensive player, you can hide it. Nobody's going to care if a linebacker gets caught. Being a quarterback is a big deal. So, but I just think Shedeur is, I just been way overcovered, overhyped for a normal 4th-string quarterback. I still think it's Sanders. I mean, come on.
He's not a normal 4th-string quarterback. Stop calling him that. He's not.
Well, Right. I'm not saying he's a normal fourth-string quarterback. But yeah, because his last name is Sanders. That's why.
And because he had a college career that we did not think as a football watching society was commensurate with being a fifth-round pick.
But why
Nobody thought that.
But I think he went in the 5th round because his last name is Sanders and all that came with it.
See, I think it's because he blew the pre-draft process, which has to do with him being a Sanders.
Yeah,
he was getting terrible advice.
We might be parsing words, but yeah. I just think that
if he's Sanders and he was awesome through the pre-draft process and everyone loved him and
be a first-round pick.
Exactly. So I don't think the last name alone hurt him.
But Dion and company do not operate like that. Dion was out there saying this is, we're going to choose our team in the top 10. See, to me, like Dion started a lot of this stuff, and I think it seeped into Shedeur too. Like he had an arrogance through this pre-draft process. So you're right; it's all in the stew. But that being said,
he should slow down. By the way,
it's a down moment.
Slow down, man.
It's a down moment for Shedeur. I'm telling you, mark my words. Week 2 of the preseason, if he throws a dime 30 yards downfield, everyone will be rushing back onto the bandwagon.
I agree with you. But by the way, though, that's not just a Shedeur thing. Because I remember, and I'm not trying to call you out on it,
hit me.
But Kenny Pickett blew up the Bills in a preseason game, and you're like, this guy's going to be the franchise quarterback after Ben Roethlisberger, and he was terrible.
But I was never down on Pickett in the first place.
The small hands.
I was down, but I didn't think Kenny Pickett was going to be the worst 21 pick of all time. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I knew he had small hands, and I loved making fun of that, but... Yeah,
we react to the preseason with quarterbacks, whether it's Shedeur or another quarterback. We love overreacting to preseason. That's not just a him problem.
No. But you can't tell me there's any other quarterback in the NFL who's covered like Shedeur Sanders. I think he is the lightning rod of the NFL right now.
I'll agree with you there. 888-710-4ISN. Bogusch is here. Bogusch, what do you think? Last name helps him or hurts him?
Well, I guess I'm confused. Perloff seems to see a negativity to this that I don't see. Like, it's a story. He got pulled over twice. The second one makes it maybe slightly more alarming that he didn't learn his lesson the first time. But like, no one's calling for him to be released or demoted or benched. Like, it's just a story. I don't like you're saying it as if people were out there now saying like he can't be their starting quarterback or he's never going to make it.
Yeah, I did see some of the people who were like saying. I'm not getting into names, but yeah, there's definitely some media who's like, this is a bad sign. Like, there's a lot of negativity around this. Like, he might lose his job. Maggie was, you're saying he's only keeping his job because he's a 5th round pick. I mean, because he's Sanders. Like, you're implying if his last name wasn't Sanders, that they might get rid of him.
I think that they would at least put him way on the back shelf. And I don't think that's going to happen now.
Right. I mean, there's a little room to be worried about his decision making. But like, again, have there been op-ed pieces in Cleveland saying like, let's move on already? Like I didn't see it or I missed it. So like, it's just a news story to me at the moment.
Okay.
I hope it's not the beginning of him making a series of terrible decisions, but like, I can't imagine that anything about the QB dynamic has changed for them at this moment for the team.
Okay.
I'm kind of surprised that nothing like this ever happened at Colorado.
Oh,
that's what I'm wondering.
It certainly could have.
Yeah, I'm kind of rolling my eyes.
Yeah.
Was that a little more like you get the college, like Boulder, college town?
Yeah, I mean, the police video is out. I mean, this guy clearly didn't know who Shedeur Sanders was because he's like, "What's your name?" Shedeur. And he's like, "Yeah, okay." And he's like, "Why is your license Colorado?" Like, he had all these questions that should have been like anybody knew him would have been like obvious. So,
and by the way, what was
they call themselves football fans there in Ohio? Come on.
What was that weird video of Shedeur saying? I learned my lesson, but
I wanted
kind
to
of a
grab
kid
that.
voice.
I actually forgot. Maybe I'll grab that for the next segment.
Yeah, there's a whole nother layer to this.
He definitely did not seem in that video where he looks like he's at some kind of charity softball event or something. It seemed like, hopefully it wasn't kickball. It didn't seem like he was taking it very seriously.
That was the first one.
This was yesterday. He did it yesterday, so I don't know.
But we're talking, okay.
Oh, at least I thought it was yesterday. I saw the video yesterday. I don't know if it was, I assume this was him responding to the media reports about these things, and he's like, I wish I would have learned my lesson. Like, he's not taking it seriously.
He's making fun of everyone.
Yeah. I don't know. Not great.
Not great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bugs, what else we got?
Your headlines. They're sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. If only Game 6 of the NBA Finals was 3 minutes long.
Oh, spin move and a slam. Jalen Williams again gets to the rim. Rick Carlisle does not like that. And a quick timeout for the Pacers.
That's Mike Breen on ABC. Jalen Williams dunking for an 8-2 OKC lead just 3 minutes into last night at Indy, forcing that timeout. But that was about it for the Thunder. The Pacers would outscore them 102-83 the rest of the way to force Game 7 in OKC Sunday night. Sacre bleu, Marc Daigneault.
Indiana was great, and we were not.
But
we have the same opportunity Indiana does on Sunday. Score will be 0-0 when the ball goes up in the air. It's a privilege to play in Game 7s. It's a privilege to play in the finals. As disappointing as tonight was, we're grateful for the opportunity.
And that's a spin.
Yeah, does it really reset? Does Game 6 carry into Game 7? That's what I'm dying to know.
Well, Game 5 didn't carry into Game 6.
Yeah.
Generally, I don't think so.
Especially with it going...
The change of venue.
The 1-1-1 at the end, yeah.
In many ways, I think you'd rather almost be blown out than have like a crushing, heartbreaking, like, collapse.
Right. I know. The only flip side of that, though, with this particular series is Haliburton didn't have to play. Like the fourth quarter, if it had been some taxing Game 6 where he's on that bad calf, then you're like, all right, he goes in Game 7 weekend. He's like on the bench waving a towel for most of the game.
But your guys didn't play those last 12 minutes either, if you're the Thunder. Sure. So they're feeling a little bit better than they should be for Game 7. I don't know.
My worry is the confidence on some of the role players on the Thunder down. Like Kason Wallace, is he shot? I mean, I think...
if it all comes down to Kason Wallace, they got problems.
Well, I mean,
but I get what you're saying.
He was a huge part of Game 5. He's a big part of that team. He's the one who... he basically took out Anthony Edwards.
No, I know, but it's like that's just one role player, right?
Yeah, but I mean, of all...
If Shea plays bad, like that's the bigger concern.
It feels like TJ McConnell has more confidence than any player on that court, which is so bizarre to me.
Yeah, I think they're going to need more than just Shea and Jalen. Like that's a fact. Like the Pacers they come at you in waves. Yeah. So I think that you're going to need contribution. These guys can't all be zeros. I mean, if maybe Wallace is a zero, but Caruso's play great, maybe they can probably overcome that. Yeah. But these other guys have to step up. And I think what we've seen, we haven't had many Game 7s, but they tend to be kind of unpredictable. Like
the last one we had was Cavs and Warriors.
Yes. Right. And like LeBron didn't shoot that great. Curry didn't shoot that great. Kyrie hit the game winner. It was a low scoring game. People expected this like epic, like 115, 120 kind of game. It was.
You got the block and you got the three.
Right. And then like the Lakers versus Celtics, Kobe shot, I think like 7 for 24 or whatever. Like these games tend to be a little ragged because everyone's kind of nervous. Yeah. They're on edge. Good luck anybody trying to predict what's going to happen. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm right with you.
That last finals Game 7 was 2016. It was won by the road team, the Cavaliers, but altogether in final Game 7s, home teams are 15-4, which could be good news for the Thunder. Their dud last night included going 8 for 30 from downtown, 21 turnovers leading to 19 points. The Pacers had 6 players in double figures, led, as expected, by Obi Toppin's 20. Tyrese Haliburton scored 14, 5 assists on that bad calf. Now, away from the finals, the Knicks got Ime Udoka a raise in Houston. The Rockets signing their head coach to a multi-year extension. After that, those Knicks came a knocking about their vacancy. The deal reportedly worth at least $10 million annually for Udoka. The homeless A's are good at least one thing.
Here's the pitch. Nick Kurtz destroys another baseball. Home run hero here in Sacramento.
This kid is unbelievable.
That's NBC Sports California, and that is Nick Kurtz with his second game-ending homer this week. That one a 2-run shot, bottom 10 for a 6-4 decision over the Astros. The Padres avoided a 4-game sweep at Dodger Stadium, 5-3. Both managers ejected after Fernando Tatis Jr. was hit by a pitch top 9. Benches clearing briefly. Then Shohei got hit bottom 9 and told his teammates to stay in the dugout. Caitlin Clark, just 11 points, 6 turnovers in the Fever's 88-77 loss at the Valkyries, and U.S. men's soccer a 1-0 win over Saudi Arabia, clinching a spot in the Gold Cup quarterfinals. That lone goal coming from Nick Richards in the 62nd minute. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thanks so much. Okay, we're going to do this a little early today. So top of the hour, the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff. We got a doozy on tap for you today. Boston. The 4 sports gods of Boston.
Ooh,
good
tough,
luck.
Tough.
How do you whittle that one down to 4? Although I feel really good about my 4, and I know you're going to hate it.
I mean, there are 3 like almost indisputable ones.
There's like 5 indisputable ones.
Yeah.
There are more than 3 indisputable.
There are 5 no-brainer, maybe 6 no-brainers.
The 4 sports gods of Boston, try to do that on the back of the envelope, or you're in your car right now. Just try to think of it. It's next to impossible.
Okay, so 3, 4, 5 means there's little room for Gary Payton in Portland. So what are you going to do with this, Maggie?
Matt Ryan, I know Boston College star Matt Ryan is not making Maggie's
the
list.
Hasselbeck family.
I want to get my late cousin Terrence Talley, who played for Gary Williams in the 80s at Boston College. Get him on there.
Do you know how many bean pots Boston University has won?
You give me a Bruce Arena, right? Rev's head coach, little MLS history.
Listen, guys, the sky's the limit.
Michael Adams, baby.
Well, I mean,
The
if you
sky's
really
the limit on how I could screw this up.
I mean, are we going to forget Providence? Is that Billy Donovan's
No, we're going to
team?
forget Providence.
Okay, think about it. Boston.
You're going to put Patrick Ewing on there because he played at
He's
Boston
from
last
Boston.
year?
From Boston.
It would violate our rules, or else I'd try.
Okay.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Anyone ever heard of Irish Mickey Ward?
Yes, I have.
That's a good one, actually.
If you put a boxer in after denying Joe Louis in Detroit, I might quit the show.
That might be the most Boston thing ever, to put Irish Mickey Ward over Joe Louis.
Well, I mean, no. To put Rocky in Philadelphia would have been the worst.
We'll see. We're going to do that at the top of the hour, the 4 sports gods from Boston. Meanwhile, you're welcome to weigh in on Shedeur Sanders, our own Andrew Kaplan, in the chat, saying he should get his license taken away.
Apparently, he might.
Well, good. Yeah. 2 speeding tickets in a month that are like this, going 90, going 100.
I don't know. Can a 5th-round pick afford all those Ubers?
And he straight ignored the first one, too, right? Like he didn't go to court, didn't pay anything.
Well, he didn't show up for the arraignment, but he's going to pay the fine. It's like $250. So that's not going to hurt him. But, taking care of your business, got to do that. We've got a lot more for you from the NFL and college football, including the camp battle we never saw coming. It's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The four sports gods from the city of Boston, which we've also been doing a little like musicians gods alongside of this, and I think the Dropkick Murphys would probably have to be in there.
Yeah, oh my God, of course. I mean, to me, like the number one Boston band of all time has to be Aerosmith.
Yeah, which Connor played in the earlier this hour.
But obviously, whenever the Celtics are in a big game or the Patriots are in a big game, you know the network's going to play this song.
So we will do the four sports gods of Boston, and may God have mercy on our souls. I don't know how you do this, how you pick. We try to get the best we can. Meanwhile, one of Boston's biggest rivals, well, that would be the city of New York. Let's talk about the Giants for a moment, Pearl. I said it's the quarterback battle we didn't see coming, but maybe we should have. So this is from a couple days ago, but it's worth it. So Jaxson Dart, who the Giants traded up back into the first round to get, he was taking reps with the ones, which, you know, maybe a little surprising considering it is Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. You do have two veterans there who, if your job is really on the line, like Brian Daboll, I could see wanting to just give the veterans the opportunity. Here's Daboll on Jaxson Dart, the Ole Miss quarterback, saying he has done very well in camp.
He's aggressive with the football, which I like. And then, you know, the true test will be once we start, and there's live hitting and preseason games and things like that. But he's progressed, you know, since he's been here to where he's not. He's made good improvement. Okay, more from Daboll says the veteran quarterbacks have been helping him a lot. It's really good to have Russ and Jameis and even Tommy, because Tommy's been in this system for a few years here, and he's kind of the head statesman in terms of that and all the adjustments that take place or the calls. He's fit right in with those guys. He's smart. Yeah, Tommy Cutlett's getting a little shout out there. And Tommy Cutlett's is pretty good, third string quarterback. Yeah, and if you want a sandwich named after you in New Jersey, you really got to follow his playbook. So anyway, that's Brian Daboll. So I've already called my shot on what I think is going to happen with the Giants. Yeah, what's that? So I've told you guys, I think that Jaxson Dart gets inserted into the starting lineup, is the starting quarterback for the New York Giants before Week 4 away game in New Orleans at the Superdome. I think this is a good spot for him. And I mentioned that, you know, Brian Daboll might want to ride with a veteran because his job's on the line. Well, to be honest, he's really got to make sure Dart looks good, because they had to have staked their reputation, him and Joe Shane both,
on, hey, we can find the quarterback of the future. Literally, the owner came out and said, we need to find the quarterback of the future, and they traded back into the first round for Dart. It's got to be pretty early, I think, earlier than we may all believe, to get him on the field and make him look as good as possible.
Well, I think this is a very unusual spot the New York Giants find themselves in. And maybe they might be the textbook example of why you don't draft a quarterback at 25th overall, because they could easily – listen, they have tons of talent on defense, which is weird, but their win total is 5.5, which means they're going to be in the mix for the number 1 pick. If he gets in there and he's not ready and he doesn't look good and they're bad this year, they're going to be very high in a quarterback-heavy draft. I don't know. I am a little nervous.
They jumped the gun.
No, I mean, I think they'd have to draft if they end up with a top 5 pick next year, they have to draft a quarterback. So then what happens with Dart?
Well, it will be a different regime making that choice. By the way, I said week 4. I meant week 5. Week 5 is when they go to New Orleans. Pardon me.
But what difference does it make of a regime? That's a huge whiff to take a guy at 25 than Josh Rosen him.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. It would be like Arizona, where it's like a Josh Rosen, Kyler Murray thing, but that was not the same coaching staff that picked Josh Rosen that picked Kyler Murray.
But it was the same. The owners, they had to see this coming, right? I mean, did they think that if they don't play Russell Wilson and they lose a bunch of games, I don't say you're 4-13 with Jaxson Dart as your quarterback, and you're sitting and Cade Klubnik takes off and he's sitting there at number 4. You telling me the Giants aren't going to immediately push Dart to the side? So I don't know if you get him out early, you hold him, you pray that the team is better than you think. They have the hardest schedule in the NFL.
So this is how I landed on New Orleans, and that's where Jaxson Dart would get inserted in the lineup, because even for Russell Wilson, you start at Washington, then at Dallas, home Kansas City, home Chargers. Going to New Orleans is the first time you might be able to take a breath. And by the way, the next week, you're playing a short week against the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles on a Thursday night in primetime. It's a tough way. So I think that Russ probably goes in, and I don't think he's going to be that effective, quite frankly, against a lot of these teams.
Yeah,
Maybe you win that opener.
You're putting Jaxson Dart to get him that New Orleans win. By the way, New Orleans' defense was spicy last year. But then you get Eagles at Denver, whose defense is awesome, at Denver.
Yeah.
At Philly again. Then San Francisco, who might have fixed their defense.
I'm telling you, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I know this is
back.
Well, to when? 2028?
I don't.
This is why it's got to be that New Orleans game, is because if we don't think that Russ is going to do well, Jameis Winston might not be on the roster possibly by the time the season starts. If there's a injury or something like that, I could see him being trade bait. And then it's so important that if this regime is going to survive, that Dart's got to look good. And that would be the one time. Also, just knowing the Giants and being a little familiar with them, they love doing this where you start the rookie quarterback on the road. A lot of times this is their playbook. They love this because I think they believe the home crowd, it's a little too intense. I have no idea, but they do this a lot. They did it with Daniel Jones. They started him in a game in Tampa. He played well. The rest was, I guess, history. I don't know. But that's what's going to happen. That's my prediction.
Yeah, this is a mess. This is a real mess.
He could start right out of the gate, by the way. Yeah. I doubt they do that to Russ, but maybe.
Yeah, it's so funny because this defensive line, I keep seeing highlights of the defensive line in practice, and it's amazing. Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, they still have Kayvon Thibodeau.
They have Abdul Carter now.
It's crazy. It reminds me of it could be the 2007 or 2011 defensive lines, but they really need this guy to be good. Jaxson Dart. I don't see it. I didn't understand the hype around him. Maybe I'm missing it. And he's a little younger too. It's not like Jaden Daniels, who came in at 23. So I'm very, very skeptical this is all going to work out.
Do you think Brian Daboll is the first coach fired in the NFL?
No. Daboll, I think Daboll's a pretty good coach. No, I think that there's more disastrous situations.
Like who?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think the Giants are going to have the worst record in the NFL. I think, listen, Stefanski might be in big trouble. I think that you have to be really, really bad to get fired. You're right. The schedule's tough. I think the Giants' defense is going to win them some games, and they'll keep Daboll afloat.
Which is funny because Daboll is known as the offensive guy. But again, he's the head coach. He should be responsible for everything. I think it's a 2-horse race on who's going to be the first NFL head coach fired. It's either going to be Daboll, although the Giants may not want to do this midseason because they think it looks bad, or it's going to be Mike McDaniel in Miami. Those are my two guys. I know Zach Taylor is technically the odds-on favorite for this. I don't see the Bengals doing that in midseason.
Yeah.
Daboll or Mike McDaniel.
How about a little Jonathan Gannon?
I think Stefanski better do something there fast.
Okay, Boston Sports Gods next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Well, for a series that apparently wasn't appealing to the casual sports fan, we do get a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. Perlo will happen on Sunday. And congratulations to the Indiana Pacers, who I thought were completely dead in the water. But Tyrese Haliburton looked great last night. Role players stepped up in a huge way. Their stars were on point. And this series is not over.
Yeah, the Oklahoma City Thunder forgot to pack their smelling salts to Indiana. And I've never seen a team look more bored in my entire life, let alone a Game 6 of the NBA Finals. It's like they didn't even... They almost load managed a Game 6 of the NBA Finals. You could see them in the second quarter start that. You saw Game 7, but was like, oh, we got them in Game 7. This is no problem. And
dangerous.
Maybe they're right.
Very dangerous, though, because the Pacers have been a phenomenal road team this entire playoffs. But, maybe OKC feels like they have a right to have that confidence.
Well, they killed the Nuggets in Game 7, but you got to remember Aaron Gordon was hurt. So
that's true.
They need an injury. And listen, Tyrese Haliburton's calf, who knows if that stays intact. It looked pretty good in Game 6 last night. But, I think the Thunder were overconfident in their ability to win Game 7 and really mailed it in last night. At least energy-wise, that's what it looks like. Maybe I'm not giving the Pacers enough credit for their swarming defense, but the Thunder were not careful with the ball at all.
No, the turnovers were just ridiculous. I mean, that's kind of been a little microcosm here of this entire series. But if you're asking, it was, 21 turnovers for Oklahoma City last night, and
8 for Shea.
8 for Shea, uncharacteristic, and weirdly the Pacers actually weren't picking them up full court, which I found surprising. It's like they were being super disruptive, but not in the way that they had been for most of the series. So good adjustments there from the coaching staff of the Pacers. We're asking you, who do you believe is a more clutch player in this series? Is it Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's the MVP of the league right now? Or is it Tyrese Haliburton, who we actually have seen hit shot after shot, but he doesn't rise really to the level of superstar in a lot of people's eyes?
Yeah, and I'm dying to know. If the Pacers did win Game 7, I was just thinking about who wins the MVP for the Pacers. Probably Siakam, who I think won the Eastern Conference MVP. But will TJ McConnell get some votes? I mean, he's definitely in the mix.
So can I just go back to when this series first got set? And it was like, either one of two things is going to happen. Either Shai cements himself as one of the faces of the league, however you want to define that, and he becomes the next guy, and he's there with Jokic now, and Giannis, and Luka, and all these other handful of guys who are, taking the torch from LeBron and Steph. Either that happens, or we have the greatest underdog story in the history of the finals. Whether it was by the betting market, whether it was because OKC has home field advantage, all the home court advantage, all this stuff. So either way, we were getting a really cool outcome.
Yeah.
Can you imagine on top of that if somehow TJ McConnell won finals MVP? I mean, we've had some weird ones like Andre Iguodala and stuff like that. That'd be all time.
Yeah, I know. I don't think he's going to quite pull it off. But I mean, you're saying that like that's a cool thing. I also think that people are like, God, that is a terrible finals. TJ McConnell just won the MVP.
See, I don't know, though, because why don't we love underdog stories anymore? We still remember the Detroit Pistons, who were a great underdog story with Richard
love it.
Hamilton.
Because there's something about this particular underdog story that doesn't feel David and Goliath. It feels like David and sort of Goliath. We've never seen the Thunder win a title before.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's why.
They're not the traditional
and also
Goliath,
Thunder, and I know EJ's going to get mad. They are kind of a one star in a bunch of role players to me. I mean, Jalen Williams has stepped into the Scottie Pippen role, but generally, like these are not people. Like I was just like, just a point of comparison: the 1987 NBA Finals with the Celtics and Lakers.
Well,
there were 9 Hall of Famers on the court. There is maybe 1.5 on the court now. It's just like they're not big names. I mean, we're seeing T.J. McConnell, a journeyman NBA player, dominating an NBA final.
And that's fun. I like that. I think it's cool. It's a different kind of story than we've had. And by the way, there's one other Hall of Famer that you're not thinking of, which is Rick Carlisle, who is now, I think,
On the court, I said, but yes.
Okay. Well, he stands there. The side of the court. It's
on the sideline.
Yeah, sideline. I think that now he has become a Hall of Fame coach.
Do they have to win this series for him to?
Well, he's won one already, so he did win with Dallas. But I think this.
Yeah, he's
Game
going
7,
there.
He's going
there.
right.
Yeah.
He might already be in. He was on the '86 Celtics, but nobody. I don't know if they got inducted as a team. Maybe not. I don't know. But he wasn't a huge part of that team. He was on it.
I don't. They didn't induct them as a team.
I don't know.
The Basketball Hall of Fame is quite liberal.
That's what I'm saying. Anyone could be in there. You could be in there. You might not even know it.
Yeah. I just think that I hear what you're saying, but I totally disagree with you about people don't. I think the NBA needs another dynasty. I'm sorry. I know this is lame. I know it's probably annoying to some people, but you need bring me a bunch of stars and a team winning 3 out of 4 and Steph Curry or LeBron or Michael Jordan or somebody. Give me something a little different. I do think, obviously, America's following my lead on this one, and they're sort of yawning at this series. Now, it is a Game 7. It's a Sunday night. It should draw a lot more attention. But the thing about star power, if the Pacers win this, then they're going to be stars next year. Like we haven't seen the teams do it yet. Like Haliburton will be huge coming into next season, but the problem is nobody knows these guys coming to this final, so they're slowly getting to know them. By next year, it would be huge. But that's why you need a repeat champion, Maggie.
No, I hear you. I guess when I look back though on different types of NBA champions, right? You mentioned, having Celtics, Lakers, 9 future Hall of Famers, and all the stuff that we'll watch on Hardwood Classics forever.
I love that stuff.
But you know what? People remember that 04 Pistons team very fondly.
Yeah, but they beat the Lakers.
Right.
We got Karl Malone and Gary Payton.
Well, I'm just saying, I think people remember, Tayshaun Prince wasn't a household name. I don't think Rip Hamilton was a household name. Chauncey Billups wasn't a household name. Ben Wallace. Rasheed Wallace was, but more for infamy at that point, maybe even then for everything else with the Jailblazers. But, those were not bona fide superstar face of the league guys. And I think we look back on that and say amazing. I mean, the Pistons at that point were more known for passing, probably on Melo or, Darko Milicic was an all-time terrible draft pick, all that stuff. And then look at this cool team that came out of nowhere. Why can't the Pacers be like that?
I don't know. I feel like that Pistons team was weren't they did they make another final after that? And
they lost to the Spurs, right?
Yeah,
they were. I think that Piston team was at a higher level. This Pacers team won 50 games, which is the least amount of wins for any team since the Rockets won in '95. And also too, like I felt they had a little more wattage to me. Maybe I'm remembering it because they already won, but they did have a bunch of stars: Chauncey, Rip Hamilton.
But not superstars.
Not superstars, but what did the Pacers
guys were
have?
acknowledged as stars before that finals.
Yeah, I mean, but Chauncey was the 3 pick. I mean, he was
a bust. He was a bust in Minnesota.
Yeah. But he was, and Rip Hamilton was a bit of a star. Yeah.
Star in college for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. The Pacers are an odd team.
Stackhouse.
The Pacers are not a typical trajectory. The number 4 seed, 50 wins. They definitely are relying on players who you would not expect at this level. Nobody saw Aaron Nesmith with the Celtics and be like, well, that's the 2-guard on an NBA final champion.
But I have a question, though.
Yeah.
Is that their fault or is that our fault? Because this is a team that went to the conference finals last year. It's not like this is a team that's like.
But everyone said only because the Knicks got hurt.
That's fair, but now we know that that's BS, right? Like we can say that, but
Knicks are a little further away.
We see that that's not really the case. Like they clearly were talented enough to make an NBA final because they just did. So, like if we're saying they're not household names, maybe they should be. Like.
When you say our fault, what do you mean? Like we're observers of we're just watching the game. Why are we at fault for anything?
Well, we're us as America. If we're saying that, who could have thought that the Pacers could make the finals? It's like, well, they were 4 games away last year. And now here they are. Like at this point, we're at Game 7. We're still saying, well, America just still doesn't really know these guys. Again, that's why I say, like, well, maybe America needs to just wake up. This is a good-ass team.
So you coming into this NBA playoffs, you were like, there's all these teams out there. Like, people got to pay attention to these Pacers. Like, anybody was saying that? I don't remember that. It was like, oh, here come the Thunder. Here come, can the Nuggets pull this off? What are the Lakers going to do? What about Anthony Edwards? I was like, listen, people, stop. TJ McConnell's going to come in and he's going to rip you apart.
Okay, but
nobody was talking about the Pacers. No one thought they were even going to beat the Cavs.
No, but that's fine. But then look at what's happened over the playoffs, which, by the way, the playoffs are 2.5 months. basically. So it's been forever that we've been watching the playoffs, and Haliburton has been hitting game winner after game winner after game winner. Like, the story has changed since the playoffs began.
Well, then again, coming into the finals, every single NBA expert on any television I had picked the Thunder in 5 or 6 games, which they shouldn't have picked 6 because obviously they had no interest in clinching it in Indy.
I've got another thought about that, about OKC, because I heard some criticism that their even-keeled nature kind of, which had thought to have been a positive for them, right? Never get too high, never get too low. Their coach always talks about, let's get back to 0. Did that hurt them last night?
Yeah, they were definitely at 0 last night.
Well, but again, it's got them here, right? Being that sort of even-keeled team. Anyway, you're welcome to weigh in at 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Let's get to the Mount Olympus.
It's time to feast your ears on Maggie and Perloff's Mount Olympus.
All right,
I went first yesterday.
I don't want to go first. Okay.
No. I went first yesterday, and this is on the Mount Olympus of tough Mount Olympuses.
It is. It's the inner circle of inner circles of the 4 sports gods from every great sports city in this country and parts of Canada. Today we do Boston, Massachusetts. So good luck to us all. We're going to tick people off on this no matter what, so I'll get us going here.
Hit us.
I'm going to start with Tom Brady, try to get everyone on my side. I don't think I really have to talk about the bona fides. I think you know them. The 6 Super Bowl rings. You want me to go through the whole thing? Pick 199.
You've been there. Foxborough, really Boston? It's more Rhode Island. And also, Tom, is that a football town?
1 lane in, 1 lane out of Foxborough. Sat in traffic there many a time. But it was worth it to watch Tom Brady cook in the playoffs, even though mostly in the regular season he was cooking my own team. At one point, held passing records in the stadium of the opponent, Buffalo Bills. Literally held the passing records there.
Thanks,
anyway,
Josh Allen.
Yeah, finally. Okay, so Brady is obviously on a Mount Olympus. He's a sports god. And this is where I'm going to get in trouble, and I don't care. I'm putting Belichick on there, too.
Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick is also a sports god in Boston. Amidst all the other great coaches, he is on the Mount Olympus. Guys, he's dating a 24-year-old. Let's all get over it. It doesn't mean that he doesn't know how to coach football. It doesn't mean that he wasn't responsible for the dynasty. Yes, he cheated. You would have wanted him to coach your team, too. He was a gigantic pain in the ass. You would have wanted him to coach your team, too. Tom Brady was one man, a great, great, great quarterback. He did not do it alone. Bill Belichick, as the coach and GM of that team, 20 years, for the most part, GM, he's got to be on there.
I thought you were going to put him on there because he was dating a 24-year-old. Guys, he's dating a 24-year-old. This guy is the man.
So much more to him than meets the eye. Clearly, the hoodie was just a cover for his Rico Suave
playa.
Belichick's on there, guys. He is the 3rd sports god from Boston. This is also going to be controversial, but I don't care. I believe in it. It's Big Papi, and he's the one Red Sox I have on here. It's David Ortiz, 3-time World Series champion. I understand Ted Williams played in Boston. I'm not an idiot. I know that he did. Didn't win. Which feels weird to say. I know Ted Williams is a legend, but David Ortiz is a god. Breaking the curse of the Bambino in the way that he did. You want to talk about 2004 ALDS and ALCS? Let's talk about it. That was the Papi show. Extra innings, 12th inning, 14th inning, walk-off singles, walk-off doubles, unbelievable stuff. Godlike. And then added 2 more World Series on top of it in 07 and then in 13. And by the way, the moment he cemented himself as a sports god in Boston was something that happened on the field at Fenway Park but was not part of a game, is when he gave the "This is our bleeping city" speech in the wake of the Boston Marathon bombings. It took him to a new level because he allowed for a catharsis to happen. That city was paralyzed in fear. And Papi was speaking for everybody. And the fact that he added the F-bomb to it was the most Boston thing ever. And he is a Boston god. And then my final god of Boston sports is Bill Russell. I put him over Bird. I feel good about that. I know Larry Bird. I know what he means, obviously. But to me, Bill Russell, the 11 titles, kind of also sort of speaking for a lot of people in Boston, a lot of basketball players. He's kind of my symbolic basketball star, But for Bill Russell to be a champion in the way that he was, set a standard in the way that he did, despite, Boston having to confront some of the darker things about racism and how Bill Russell still represented that city with class, grace, dignity, and as a champion. He's got to be a sports god. My 4 sports gods, Brady and Belichick get in. It's got to be Ortiz, and it's got to be Bill Russell.
Okay. I'm with you on a couple. Tom Brady, I put on there, despite the fact that Foxborough is pretty far away from Boston. And
more Providence.
Yeah, and obviously the power rankings of sports in Boston, until the Patriots started winning Super Bowls, nobody cared about that team. I have a lot of friends from Boston. It's a Red Sox town, and a Bruins town, and a Celtics town. Okay, number 2, I had Bill Russell on there, and I got to be honest, it came down to me. Bill Russell was my 4th, believe it or not. It was him or Big Papi. And I went with Bill Russell. At the last second, I'm like, I can't not put Bill Russell. Dude won 11 titles. Okay. My 3rd, Bobby Orr, the hockey player. Now, I don't have no idea. I just grew up. Everyone knows Bobby Orr is like Mount Rushmore of NHL players. He is Mr. Boston, won 2 titles there, greatest defenseman player ever. I looked at a NHL.com list of the greatest hockey players of all time, with Gretzky 1 or 2.
Wow.
He is, I always thought of him as a sports god. Again, I'm not claiming to be an NHL historian, but Orr seemed like such a natural fit for Boston sports gods. And then my 4th spot, I have no, if you were going to say one face, Boston sports, what's the face that jumps into your mind? It's Larry Bird. It's got to be Larry Bird. So I left Poppy off, it killed me. And I left Ted Williams off, it killed me. So I think...
Wait, you have no Red Sox?
I had no Red Sox because I couldn't choose between them. I was
in a town you just said is a baseball town, you put no Red Sox.
It's the way it fell.
Yeah,
it's the way it fell. The one thing I disagree with, to have 2 Patriots on there, feels like a little much to me. You might win this because you have Poppy, so he's Mr. Boston, and he's the most recent guy. I went old school with Russell and Bird.
Yeah.
But it's impossible. Leaving Ted Williams off is just stupid as well.
It feels really, really wrong.
He might be, he's close to the Mount Rushmore of all-time baseball players. He's the greatest hitter of all time.
No, I understand. I know,
but...
And he's like an American hero, fighter pilot,
Didn't win. I mean, didn't win.
And Big Papi helped break a curse,
Yeah, but also you can give credit to Manny Ramirez, too.
I love, if you want to do a Mount Rushmore of, like, the best Boston characters, Boston like athletes, like Gronk, Manny Ramirez,
Pedro also not far. Clemens was Mr. Boston.
Schilling, you want to go characters?
Schilling,
and he's been called a lot worse than that.
Kevin Garnett.
What's that? Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Millar.
Honestly, Paul Pierce probably is really a sports god there, too. He was through some bad stuff, like bad times, 20-win seasons, stuff like that, and then finally reaching the mountaintop. So there you go.
Yeah, I would give
Boston's
Pierce
impossible.
a slight edge because he started in Boston.
I was saying character.
Yeah.
Antoine Walker.
Yeah, well, that's another character. Yeah, I was talking about character. Yeah, for sports
Marchand,
god,
who just won with the Panthers. Brad Marchand.
Bob Cousy. I mean, Bob Cousy's a definitive NBA
How
legend.
about the guy you're missing that I think definitely has a case?
I know what you're going to say.
Red Auerbach.
Yeah.
Red and Hondo, too.
Yeah,
John
Havlicek.
John Havlicek could make almost any other Mount Olympus. He's an all-time NBA player. Boston's sick.
It's too hard, man. It's just too hard. Bill Spaceman Lee, you want to talk about characters? I mean, he's not going to be, he might not be the...
Aaron Hernandez, if we're doing the opposite.
Well, now then you got to go to the underworld.
The underworld.
Yeah. We do that sometimes.
Right, Belichick could go to both.
For the cheating?
Just because he's comfortable in the underworld. Like, he's dressed for it. But
everyone's wearing hoodies in the underworld in Perloff's mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Where would you put Schilling after all?
After all that. I don't know
We're
where
not
Schilling
getting into
goes.
that topic.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Not today.
No.
Not on a Friday in June.
Yeah, Schilling, bloody sock, but then also, what is he talking about? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. And Clemens, who was amazing and then turned his back on the city and went to New York. Oh, man.
With Toronto, too, I don't know. Larry Bird walking off with a 1. Come on. Larry Bird is not on your Mount Olympus of Boston sports.
I know.
I would have even actually put him over Russell.
But you put Russell on.
I did put Russell on. I just think Larry Bird, I don't know. Maybe because I grew up with Larry Bird. It's just Larry Bird. He's Larry Bird.
I know. He's also in our Indiana Mount Olympus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Multiple god. Multi-god.
Is he the first guy to do that on this list?
No, I think I've had. Well, LeBron didn't quite make Miami, did he?
LeBron did not make Miami. I think
Gary Payton could have been on too, but that's
I
because
had
put him in
Payton. I had Payton on my Seattle.
You had on, I don't think either of you guys have had two people on two different lists.
Yeah,
you
because
did
I
not
didn't
put Gary Payton on, Maggie.
I did not put Bird on Indiana.
Oh, you didn't put it. Okay, so you have Bird on.
No, I did not put Bird on.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and I put Gary Payton on Seattle, and
Bird still is not uniformly too.
No, not uniformly.
I mean, Bird, if you had to choose, what town is he most associated with?
What?
Boston by 100 miles.
Indiana. He's
the
Hick
of French Lick. That's his nickname.
There's
Great
no
nickname, by
N
the way.
Indiana for Larry. Like
Yes,
Larry
there is.
Oh, yeah. You put him in the Sports Hall of Fame and show him in an Indiana State jersey? What are you talking about?
Probably.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Like,
debate.
Hey, did you're young. Have you ever heard of Larry Bird? Yeah, he was this amazing Indiana legend. I forget where he played in the NBA. What are you talking about? He had the Shamrock. He went head to head with Magic Johnson.
I know, but some guys are known for their college and their pro. Same.
He's also,
And Larry Bird ain't one of them.
I think he is. He had the legendary finals against Magic.
I was gonna say, even beyond just like college, I think some people are also like super well known for being from a certain place.
Right.
You guys are just arguing me now, just for the sake of arguing me, because you could not be farther from reality in this one.
Okay, so Boston. For sports gods, what do you got? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Yes. Controversy.
I'm putting up a poll. When you think of Larry Bird, do you think more of his Boston days or his Indiana days?
What is he more known for? Playing for Boston or being from Indiana?
That's the question.
That is serious. Dude, I'm not going to be associated with that question because I don't think people are going to take us seriously if we put that out there.
You're going to put the poll up.
It's an embarrassing poll. It's so dumb.
Well, we could put it up from our official Twitter handle. We've never been afraid to embarrass ourselves from there. That's at Maggie and Pearl. You can also watch the show on YouTube, on X. We say good morning to our affiliates nationwide. We are obsessed with you. The Odyssey app is free to download, and you can take it wherever you go. They've got the rewind function. And, of course, the Maggie and Perloff podcast is awesome, and it's there for you every single day. What did we get right? What did we get wrong about Boston? Let us know.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. I thought we were doing Boston musicians. Is this a Boston musician?
I don't think so, but I just like the song, so I just
Yeah.
threw it up there.
Connor's picks today.
This
Boston,
is a Daft Punk or what? Or
Daft Punk, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're doing Mount Olympus, 4 sports gods from the city of Boston. Maybe the hardest city we've had on this. We've done every major city. Bay Area was impossible. LA, New York, impossible. Boston, for some reason, has a lot of sports heroes, and I really got stuck. Spent all night grinding. I came up with Tom Brady, Larry Bird, Bobby Orr, and Bill Russell.
I went with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. I went with David Ortiz and then Bill Russell. Can I tell you what our own Andrew Kaplan, who's a big Boston sports fan, said? Ortiz, Brady, and Russell are the locks, and then you debate the fourth.
Ortiz, Brady, and Russell.
That's according to our own Andrew Kaplan.
Let me ask you a question. How can you put Bill Belichick in and not Red Auerbach? Red Auerbach, arguably a greater coach.
I know, but I guess I'm putting the Bill Russell in there for I don't know.
Yeah, but you had Tom Brady for Bill Belichick.
I know. I guess
Nah, the logic isn't going to help you on this one.
It's not. But here's actually what
recency is.
This is recency, but here's also what I'm going to say. I think two things. I think it's harder to win football. I think that because I think your players, which we've talked about, and we talk about ring culture, we talk about the NBA and why is ring culture such a big deal. I think it's because if you have the best player, you're expected to win. I think in football, it is hardest to win. I think it's the hardest sport to coach. And I also think that Belichick was going up against some other unbelievable coaches. Maybe not in the division, but certainly in the AFC. So
Maybe not in the division,
Well,
says the Bills fan.
He's about to lie.
I mean, one thing you could say, he did get a free pass in the second round of the playoffs every year because he's in the AFC East, much like your Bills have done the last 10 years.
Well, that's fine, but he's facing also some of the great quarterbacks that we've had in the NFL, and he was the defensive guy designing ways to stop the likes of Peyton Manning. You're trying to stop the likes of well, they couldn't stop Eli, but Peyton, they certainly stopped. You're trying to stop Ben Roethlisberger. You're trying to stop Phillip Rivers. You're trying to stop all those guys. I'm going to forget 100 of them, but I think Belichick got my nod there.
No, Belichick's obviously great, but I think I'm going to suffer here for not putting Big Papi, but the Caps on the younger side, like Bobby Orr is a legend. I mean, a legend. In Boston, he's huge. So I'm not embarrassed about putting Bobby Orr on there, although I think that might cost me the poll. I could have gone Papi. I feel bad not having a Red Sox. By the way, Jim Rice, all-time player. Carl Yastrzemski, Carlton Fisk.
Yeah, I was thinking Fisky.
Yeah, I mean, we got to get some Goodwill Hunting sound up in this thing. I mean, Pedro Martinez, Roger Clemens. It's crazy. There's just too many people to choose from here.
So we got a couple from the chat, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet. LT Watch Party says Mo Farah in Boston Marathon winner. Spencer says John Cena.
Oh.
From Newton, Mass, I believe. He's from Newton, Mass. That's an interesting
Newbury, Mass.
Oh, Newbury, Mass. Thank you. Anyone? They're also Kaplan putting up his Boston sports media Mount Olympus.
Well, they run the media, so the sports media for 4 decades.
Yeah, he's got Peter Gammons, Bill Simmons, Bob Ryan, and Jackie McMullen.
It's good for
him. But Will McDonough, right?
Was the original, one of the original.
And also Lee Montgomery, I think, is from some consider the greatest sports writer of all, and Frank DeFord. So
yeah.
So
Frank DeFord's in Boston?
I got to check
sure about that?
No, I am not.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the Boston Globe has been the way to become an all-time writer.
Gary Washburn, too.
888-710-4ISN. There's a lot of ways we could have sliced this and diced this, right? Because you can do just the fan favorites. You can do the underdog, Boston, Mount Olympus. You can do characters. You can do the underworld. I mean, just doing the straight sports gods is hard.
Frank DeFord had nothing to do with Boston. It just looks like he's from Boston. Doesn't he feel like a Boston guy?
Yeah, I didn't think so either.
Frank DeFord?
Where's he from?
Baltimore. But he never worked at a local paper. He went straight to Sports Illustrated.
Let's get to Bogusch, who's got headlines. And by the way, keep them coming. Yeah. The Mount Olympus of Boston sports figures.
Guys, you can't help but remember the glory days in Philadelphia. Sixers legend T.J. McConnell, a vintage performance in Game 6 of the finals with his Pacers facing elimination at home.
McConnell in business, moving it left to right, drives it hard to the right baseline, pulls up from there, and hits another short jump shot.
I need to tell you what, he's put it in another gear these last couple of games. Played so well for the Pacers here.
That's Pacers radio. McConnell, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, part of the balanced diet that poisoned the Thunder last night. Indy, a 108-91 season-saving, series-extending win. That's the largest margin of victory, by the way, in this series, and it wasn't that close. McConnell's efforts got him on the NBA TV set post-game, and the crew brought up his dad, Tim.
I can't be more proud to say I have a son in the NBA and I have a daughter in the WNBA. This is a dream come true, and I'm going to OKC for my son to play in the championship game.
Touching moment there. But if you were wondering why TJ is the way he is, here's Tim when asked how his son played last night.
Excellent. Just disappointing, missed 2 foul shots in the beginning. I kept saying, man, I wish he'd have made those 2 foul shots. But he recovered, and we won the game. So I can forget about the foul shots.
Speaking of Boston, he sounds like the foul shots.
Well, he's from I know TJ's from Pittsburgh.
TJ's from Pittsburgh, but that didn't sound like a Yinzer accent.
Did not.
They are Pittsburgh legends, though. So maybe at one point Tim was from Boston, but they have run Pittsburgh, the McConnell family, for a long time.
They run Pittsburgh.
I mean, so
it's Ben Roethlisberger, then TJ McConnell.
He's an all-time high school coach in the Pittsburgh area.
Oh, okay.
I think his sister's in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. Another sister played and maybe won multiple titles. I'm trying to remember now from working the sisters' games in college. So then TJ, and he mentioned Meg's in the WNBA. Another brother was a 1,000-point scorer at Robert Morris, which is in Pittsburgh.
You might. All right.
Yeah.
You got the receipts. I stand corrected.
So I don't know where they'd all started, but it hit its crescendo in Pittsburgh.
So when we do the Sports Gods of Pittsburgh, you're telling us that we should put Tim McConnell on there along with
or TJ, an all-encompassing
Troy
McConnell.
Okay.
You know way too much about the McConnell family, Bogusch.
Well, again, I've between TJ playing at Duquesne and then 5 years of Meg McConnell playing in the Atlantic 10 and having to face Fordham, I know way too much about way too many people on that level of basketball.
I think it's a cool skill. It's like, wow, Manny knows all the arenas.
It's like everyone knew that Tim McConnell had to be a head coach when he said, "Oh, you missed your foul shots." I'm like, that's the father of a guy who's a coach.
Yep. Also, if you saw these guys, the only way they're getting there is through the coaching.
Yeah,
true.
You know. Yeah.
They also asked him, "Why are you nicer to your daughter than to TJ?" And he said, "Well, Meg was an undefeated state champ, and TJ and I lost twice, so she gets that love."
Man,
yeah.
When parents get too honest.
Thunder parents, meanwhile, have some consoling to do after their sons bailed on this game after roughly 3 minutes. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scoring just 21, turned the ball over 8 times. OKC down 22 at the half by 30 through 3. Game 7 on their floor Sunday night. First Game 7 for the title in 9 years. The 20th all-time. Home teams have won 15 of 19 so far. The Padres and Dodgers did not end their 4-game series in LA without more beanball drama.
Oh no, Tatis got hit. And Little, the rookie, spins Tatis around. And Mike Schilt is furious coming out of the dugout. And now Mike Schilt is barking at Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts out of the dugout. The managers are going to come face to face. Standing in between them is the Crucci Marvin Hudson. And Duck just bumped Mike Schilt. The dugout's clear. Mike Schilt has been barking all day. And then he yelled at Dave Roberts, and the Padres and Dodger bullpen's now empty. They gather on the warning track next to the Dodger dugout. This has been brewing all season long. And finally, the tempers are too hot.
No punches thrown, both managers ejected, and then Padres reliever Robert Suarez plunked Shohei Ohtani in the bottom half of the inning. He was tossed. Ohtani kept the peace, so no more fighting. X-rays negative on Tatis's right hand, but more testing today, and his Padres won the game 5-3 to avoid a 4-game sweep.
There's a lot going on yesterday.
This is the best rivalry right now, maybe in sports, dare I say.
Padres-Dodgers?
These teams hate each other.
They do hate each other.
They hate each other in a way that you don't see normally in sports today.
What's interesting,
Ohio
though,
State, Michigan still, I'd say, is number one.
That's probably number one.
This is
fair.
I agree. It's huge.
It's right there.
It's amazing. I mean, but considering everything that was happening at Dodger Stadium yesterday, I wasn't sure if the players would try to calm things but it got escalated. I know it's two very different things with like federal agents showing up to the parking lot and the Dodgers tweeting about it. And then I forgot which government agency tweeted back at the Dodgers and called them liars. I know there's been protests out there, like a lot of real life stuff. But then you have this crazy tempers flaring, managers screaming at each other. Like things are tense in LA right now, and I feel like now maybe this is playing out a little on the field too.
I actually connected to the Caitlin Clark thing. I'm like, are people not throwing punches anymore? What's going on here in modern sports? Like I felt like, like that. The way you hit Shohei, like you clear the benches and you punch somebody. What's happening with sports?
So
and
you're upset that
Caitlin
punches didn't get thrown?
Well, I felt like Caitlin Clark.
Maggie of you.
Caitlin Clark, I mean, listen, I don't know if they fight in WNBA, but that's when I was growing up. This is very clear. You settled it with fists.
So you're looking for the Sophie Cunningham of the Dodgers to run out there and defend
of course somebody
Shohei?
should have thrown a punch in that game. But I mean, I'm kind of half joking, but back in the day, this definitely would have led to a fight. I feel like modern sports might be veering away from open fisticuffs. Am I missing something?
Advocating for punches?
I'm not advocating. It was funny. I saw the pitch that hit Shohei. I'm like, oh, they're going to fight, right? That's what would have happened back in the day.
And Tatis.
I grew up watching fights all the time at Phillies games.
I think there's something about the realization that if you throw a punch, you are definitely getting suspended, where they think if they don't throw the punch, there's a gray area. And if you get suspended, you're not helping your team. I don't know.
And Shohei definitely can't throw a punch because those hands are so valuable.
Yeah,
more valuable than any hands in all of sports. But the Caitlin thing, I was surprised. Like that could have been a much bigger fight.
Women punch each other very much.
It's a different sports landscape since the Malice to Palace.
Yeah.
Once that happened, fighting was over in any major way. Now, you will see time to time in baseball a real fight, but those are rare now.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of remember the sucker punch with was it Strawberry?
Or Jose Bautista.
I was thinking Jose Bautista and Rugi Odor.
Yeah, there's been some dangerous punches in baseball, too. They really could have hurt people.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The Rudy Tomjanovich might be the most famous one. But I'm interesting you brought up the Malice at the Palace. Sorry, Bogusch. Did you see who was at the game last night in Indiana? They've been bringing back all these old Pacers, Dale Davis, and, everyone gets to be the Reggie Millers in a different Pacers legend shirt.
Yeah, it was Jalen Rose last night.
No, it was Ron Artest. Meta World Peace was back there sitting courtside. I'm like, what? I know they want to bring back the legends, but you got to be kidding me with bring back Ron Artest and Meta.
Yeah, that was
He derailed
bizarre.
a season where they had championship aspirations because he was out of his mind.
Yeah, Maggie, is there any Buffalo Bill that or do you want to bring back that ruined the season for you guys?
No.
It's a long list.
My thought went to someone who.
Thurman Thomas is always welcome back in Buffalo. He's a legend.
This is news to me. So they hate Ron Artest.
They should.
Yeah, but Ron Artest also it's like the Lakers channeled that craziness.
Right. They got the good part of it. The Pacers got the bad part. Well, here's the thing about Ron Artest. He didn't exactly, I don't know, I could only tell from TV. And this was actually watching the NBA League Pass feed where I was able to see in the commercial break. They
showed them during the broadcast.
Oh, they did? Because I was like, it's like, hey, ladies and gentlemen, CJ Miles. It's like, all right, polite applause. And Meta World Peace. And I did not hear an overwhelming cheer for him, nor should there have been.
Yeah, I don't know whose idea it was to bring him there. Because he definitely was invited. He's not showing up, sitting courtside like that. And then they're introducing him like this. He definitely was an invite.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Really? But a bunch of people acted out in that game, and they didn't become pariahs.
Yeah, but who went in the stands? Like Ron Artest started it. By the way,
he was
also
not the only one, though.
But he was acting weird that whole season. He wanted to leave the team because he had a rap album that he wanted to promote. Well, they're literally they were a championship caliber team that year.
Yeah, he's going through a lot of emotional issues.
And that's great that he's gotten past them, but I'm a little surprised that, and Ron Artest or Meta World Peace is obviously a little not self-aware. Because apparently the story is after he went into the stands and punched that fan, he went in the locker room and said, do you think we're going to get suspended for this? Yeah. And Steven Jackson's like, are you insane? No. We may never play basketball again. That's what just happened. So he might not know.
But a ton of guys crossed the line in that game, though.
Yeah, but he ended up, that was 30 for 30. Like he got the brunt from the team of him messing up their season.
Right, because it was like Jermaine O'Neal was like they fell, and Steven Jackson were just defending Artest.
Right. What happened to the Pistons didn't fall apart after that? Did they? They had a million suspensions.
It wasn't as bad as Ben Wallace was maybe suspended for 10 games or so, but it was not nearly as bad. And Ron Artest was suspended for a whole season. I think Steven Jackson got half the season. That they got crushed by those penalties. Yeah, crushed.
I'm like they're on camera saying that they were mad at Ron for a long time.
Yeah, Jermaine O'Neal says I still have trouble thinking about him because he ruined my chance at a title, as he should.
And it's Game 6 last night in the finals. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get some positive memories going with Ron Artest. Hold your beers.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe. So the Knicks have been bringing back Stephon Marbury, and I think that's maybe the closest kind of thing to this.
Yeah, well,
and he's embraced, but he's from New York.
He's
so
from
it's
New York.
Different.
It's a little different. But he also had to take the stand
in a
courtroom.
I think it's becoming a thing now where it's almost like a bit where it's like, oh, let's bring back the guy that you probably kind of should hate, but we're just bringing back everybody now. It's all good. There's a part of me that kind of likes that. Right?
Whoever said cancel culture is a thing, it's not. Well, you can bring back anybody.
Right? It's let bygones be bygones. Whatever. We're here trying to win a championship. Everybody's welcome on board. I kind of don't hate it. It's weird. It definitely is weird, though.
Weird. Does every ex-girlfriend have to get invited back to the reunion? I don't think so.
I also feel like Ron Artest has been moonlighting as a Knicks alum for the last several years too. That's been a weird thing because he played there for 10 games maybe, legitimately.
The guys down the hall want him to be the next head coach of the Knicks.
No, yeah.
Sure. 888-710-4ISN. Again, our Mount Olympus of the four sports gods of Boston. our own Andrew Kaplan doing some really good work in the chat. He did bring up, Perloff, you had Hank Aaron on 2 different Mount Olympuses. You had him in Milwaukee, and you also had him in Atlanta. I only had him in Milwaukee. Okay, wrap that one up. Lots more to do today, though, including we will get into Caitlin Clark. What happened last night, and is the conversation and the physicality going to die down at all? Next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Center stage today. The 4 sports gods from Boston, the Maggie and Perloff Mount Olympus. Got a couple fun things from the chat. People very much behind you, Pearl, about why don't we throw punches anymore in sports.
I didn't say they should throw punches. I just said, like, it's different. They don't throw punches. I think EJ had a great point. The Palace kind of changed the way I think sports leagues view this. I mean, also, there's been some nasty baseball fights, too.
Right. So yesterday, obviously, Dodgers, Padres, which has become really tense. Everything in LA is tense right now, but it's become very tense. And that you had Tatis hit, then you had Shohei get hit.
Also, I don't think
managers are in each other's faces.
You can't dismiss the Dodgers-Giants real violence, too.
Well, that's been horrific.
I think when that happened, too, I think that changed some of the attitudes towards fighting as well.
Not to be flippant about it, but the Rafael Devers trade, such a huge story, obviously, where he gets traded away from Boston to San Francisco. The Red Sox are in San Francisco tonight for a series.
Yeah.
Do you think that Devers gets hit?
No.
Do the Red Sox? If the Red Sox, if he really was this clubhouse cancer and this
dude wouldn't play first base.
Yeah, wouldn't play first. Do you think that the Red Sox pitchers take it out of him? I'm going to actually say no. I think. Listen, it's also a guy who had an issue with the front office. Do other players really want to get involved in that?
Well, I got to be honest. I never even considered that they would throw at him until you just said it. Is that out there? Or is that just in the devilish mind of Maggie Gray?
No, it's out there. I mean,
they would throw at Rafael Devers.
Well, I mean, everyone's painting Devers like he's committing the worst sins of any professional, athlete because he wouldn't willingly give up third and then willingly move from DH to first, like he, is just deserves to be in the garbage heap.
I don't know. He wouldn't do it in Boston, but he'll do it in San Francisco.
Well, okay.
That's not good.
Yeah, but see, I kind of understand it. I think more than you do. Like, he feels like he was wronged by the organization at so many different turns. So now you get a clean slate.
I'll tell you 330 turns he wasn't wronged.
The fact that you're letting the Red Sox off the hook completely on this, I think it's not all of one and none of another. Does that make sense? It's not 100-0. Red Sox are in the right. Devers was in the wrong. You see,
I don't think it even maybe. But listen, you ask a player to switch positions, he says no, and then he will switch positions for another team. So that is not a player you want on your team, obviously. Regardless of who is at fault, him being gone, if that was his attitude in Boston, he wasn't. It didn't sound, without knowing all the details and what they quote unquote did wrong to him. I just think that he seems like a non-team first guy, at least in Boston. He seems like a great guy in San Francisco.
Well, he's been there for about 5 minutes. So we'll see, I guess, how long that lasts. I just want to quickly get tonight's starting pitcher for this game. My computer won't load, so whatever. I just wonder if they're going to wait, here we go. It looks like it's going to be Hunter Dobbins. Ooh.
No, they're definitely not going to.
Mr. I'll never play for the Yankees. I would rather retire.
He'd throw at him.
They're not going to
throw at Devers?
They will not throw Devers. I'll bet you show bet they do not. I don't think the players even care quite as much as the rest of us about this one.
Well, again, but that's the thing. He was painted on the way out. Devers is that it wasn't just about his issues with the clubhouse. It was more than, or his issues with the front office, pardon me. It was more than that. He was just a me first guy and bad clubhouse guy, bad teammate.
But I never read that his teammates didn't like him necessarily.
Well, it depends who you read.
Really? Because I read a lot, I read a lot of experts who were vague about it, saying he was a disaster, the way he handled that situation. But it felt a war between him and the team. I never sensed that the teammates were after him. Did anyone come out on record or anybody
Not
say
on
that?
record, but I think there were some reports that he a good riddance kind of thing.
Okay.
By the way, the chat also believes that Perloff looks like a Russian mobster with the tracksuit on today.
Yeah. Give the man his
Connor
money.
is nodding his head.
I was going to say somebody from The Sopranos, but.
Oh, yeah, maybe just Italian mob.
Yeah. Paulie Walnuts look, sort of.
I think the Russian mob makes more sense. I am of Russian descent.
So
Ukrainian descent. It's unclear. One of those two. Anyway.
The old country.
Yes. Did anyone give the man his money reference?
Is that Rounders?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a spot-on impersonation.
Coming up, we head back to Boston for Sports Gods. What did we get right? What did we get wrong?
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Giant feet, they're the talk of the town. When she walks the sidewalk cracks, she's bringing buildings down. She tried to buy some shoes, but they said no way. Now she's wearing boat sails just to get through the day. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on puddles, creating lakes for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make a mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more. At the beach she's a hit, making giant sand castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. Her feet made the music, folks yelled for more. At the beach she's a hit, making giant sand castles. Her footprint's so big, they're like dinosaur battles. Maggie's giant feet, they're a real big deal. Stepping on puddles, creating lakes for real. Maggie's giant feet, they make a mighty thud. But Maggie just laughs, hey, it's all in good fun. She went to a dance, cleared out the floor. So here's to Maggie and her feet so grand. She's the funniest girl in all the land. With her giant feet, she's never beat. Maggie's big feet make life so sweet. Oh, Maggie's big feet make life so sweet.
Seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Jalen Williams, 16 points, throws it away. Haliburton comes up with it. Cross court, Siakam for the slam.
Thank you to Mike Breen. This was an unbelievable play last night. The Pacers blow out OKC. We will get a Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Good morning, Maggie and Perloff with you. So happy to have you. I know that, Mike Breen, you don't do the bang call for dunks. Bangs are always for three-pointers.
Oh, is that right? There's no bang for dunks? I didn't know that.
I mean, I don't generally think he does that. It's generally for three-point shots. But this one deserved it because if you're talking about one moment from last night's blowout, but to be fair, blowouts don't usually give you amazing moments. This was it. It was the Haliburton steal, Haliburton no-look pass to Siakam for the flush dunk, and it was just a domination by Indiana.
Yeah, I just wonder that after that happens to you, and there was a dunk on Jalen Williams lazily threw the ball away, then got dunked on and fell to the ground. Like, can you get up from that if you're OKC? Was this a knife to the chest in basketball terms?
Well, I would hope not, because then OKC was the paper tigers the whole time. Because if that's really going to, take you out of your game or out of your headspace, then you probably don't deserve to be the champ. And I don't think that's what we're going to see in Game 7.
I don't think so, but it does seem like there's a new vulnerability there that we wouldn't have predicted going into this game. I thought Indiana was going to win last night because the role players shoot so much better at home.
Yeah.
And the role players at OKC are not shooting well, especially on the road. But I don't know. It feels like Jalen Williams was so bad last night. He had 40 points in Game 5. Then he had minus 40. That's the plus minus. When he was on the court, the other team scored 40 more points than them. The worst figure in NBA Finals history. That's the worst NBA Finals game we've ever seen.
Unbelievable. After he was getting praised for having one of the best, as you mentioned, in Game 5.
I just wonder, confidence. Who looks more confident right now? I'm recency bias, but it just feels like Tyrese Haliburton gives this team a confidence. I think emotionally and mentally, they might. TJ McConnell seems like the most confident player on the court. They might have an edge. Even on the road, McConnell looked more confident. Like he knows he's got the Thunder. He doesn't feel as afraid of anybody. He'll take it right at any of the Thunder big men and not even hesitate.
Now, what's crazy about this is the last time we had a Game 7, the road team did win. That was the big LeBron James Cleveland Cavaliers comeback on the Warriors, but obviously a lot of things had happened. Draymond had to get suspended in that series. You had Curry was not 100% in that series. It's so hard for the road team to win generally, right? This is so much favors the home team. If you want to go by the betting markets, OKC is a massive favorite. But I do think there is something about these Pacers, and we've been talking about in Game 7, which is going to be Sunday, if this gets into a tight game, a minute left to go, minute and a half left to go, who do you trust more in that big moment? Is it Tyrese Haliburton or is it Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? We put the poll question up for you on Maggie and Pearl at X, and right now, Shai leading by the slimmest of margins at 51-49, where Shai, the MVP, gets the nod. Do you think that's right?
No, I trust Haliburton more. If it's a close game, the clutch numbers on Indiana are incredible. Indiana's a little bit older than Oklahoma City, too. As a whole team, I think that maybe they're mentally a little ahead of this. Talent-wise, I think OKC has the edge. Mentality-wise, I think Indiana has the edge. The problem with the Pacers is going to be that home crowd in Oklahoma City. The role players seem so comfortable. I mean, Kason Wallace, who's been terrible this finals, played really well in Game 5. Guys like that, and Caruso.
Yep.
Caruso is...
he's a champion.
He's such a seesaw guy. One game is great, the next game he's absent. So I think Game 6 was an aberration for how bad OKC played, but there's a confidence with Indiana.
No doubt. I think the other reason and way that Indiana gets confident is because Tyrese Haliburton nursing that calf, he looked fine. He looked great. I think they got a lot of juice and momentum from the fact that he looked so good and did not look hampered. Well, because it was a blowout, he only played 23 minutes last night. So he gets to rest for the whole fourth quarter. Now, granted, OKC also gets to rest, but they get to rest and sit there and think about how badly they played through the first 3 quarters, whereas Haliburton now has 2 days to get himself ready to go for Game 7.
Yeah, and I look at the other side. OKC, I mean, listen, if you don't want to pass the ball, Indiana's fine. Just how many times was Shea just dribbling until someone stole it? Chet Holmgren, EJ and I argue about this all the time. The second he puts on the floor, the entire Indiana team's like, oh, this is a missed shot. We get to go run the other way. People have been making fun of his drive to the basket. Looks so good until the last moment when he flails up some terrible shot 90% of the time.
The only thing about like Chet and Jalen Williams, though, you mentioned it's like these guys are young, and they were a great team all year long.
They're not that young.
Well, but young as far as like how many years they've been in the league. I mean, Jalen Williams, this is year 3. Technically for Chet, this is only year 2 because he missed his whole rookie season because he was hurt.
But he is 23.
Okay.
That's young.
I think
it's youngish, right?
Don't you look
that's
at?
very young.
Don't you also look at the individual specific matchup here? And I was thinking about Nembhard, right? Who was good last night, very good. He's been good playing defense against Shea, and then he was hitting his shots. So Andrew Nembhard has been fantastic for Indiana at times, and yesterday was a good Nembhard game. He knows Shea because they grew up in Canada together, and they've been playing against each other since they were kids. So he's not going to be intimidated by trying to stop Shea. And then he played at Gonzaga. He was on the same team as Chet, right?
Yeah, he attacked Chet one-on-one a bunch of times. And I'm like, I know those practices, those guys went against each other.
Isn't that funny? I'm like, he's got this like real Forrest Gump just of the OKC. Like he was there with all these guys, like long before you got to a Game 6 of the NBA Finals last night. Like, he's there with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander before Shai's famous, before he's getting girls, before he's, Mr. Guy. Like he's like, I know you from when we're, 12 years old. I mean, there's a psychological edge there.
Remember there's that random guy who knew how to cover Justin Jefferson for the Lions, like some guy who's like a journeyman, and then they were like, he covers Jefferson. Well, he did in that crucial game where the Lions clinched the division.
Who was that?
I can't remember his
name.
name.
They've known each other since 8th grade or something.
What happened with what happened with Walker Alexander? On
the family members, this doesn't apply.
Oh, this doesn't apply to family members. It's so funny because Nembhard, I don't think Nembhard played offensively great in the series before, and now he's found his shot. That makes him. But can he do it on the road with that Thunder crowd on top of you? It looks like they're like halfway into the court with all those T-shirts. I just think that's a big challenge. There were so many guys who disappointed me. Lou Dort, what was that game? He looked like garbage. Caruso looked terrible. Holmgren was. I thought he clearly wanted to take Holmgren out of the game, but he needed him for defense. Hartenstein. The Pacers are not afraid of that guy at all. TJ McConnell hunts him all game long, and he's 7 feet tall. As EJ pointed out, he has dinosaur arms. Can't block a shot. There's just so many problems with this OKC thing. I would say to myself, how did they win 68 games? Because they are, and I know the answer.
You know the answer, yeah.
Yeah, because Karl Malone and John Stockton used to do it. If you just run harder throughout a regular season game or a Tom Thibodeau team, they're definitely built for the regular season. If you adjust to this team, they're not, they're a harder working team than everybody else. They're deeper than everyone else. That's great for 68 games, but it makes them more vulnerable in the playoffs to me.
Well, but they already won a Game 7 against the Nuggets.
Yeah, they outlasted the Nuggets for sure.
Okay, and here they are in Game 7 with home court advantage in the NBA Finals. Like, if you don't want to be in a Game 7, but if you're going to be, this is as good as a situation as they could be, no? Unless you really think Game 6 got in their heads and it's going to mess with them.
No, I agree with you. You know what I keep thinking about, and we haven't brought it up? Pods on the Warriors. You brought this great sound. We got to find it.
Oh, Brandon Pajemski.
Yeah. He was worried. He said the Knicks would not be a good matchup against the Thunder, but the Pacers are a great matchup at the Thunder because you do not know where the scoring is going to come from. So the Thunder are the elite defensive team in the NBA. They're designed to stop great players. They are not designed to stop Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell getting hot. That has really been the key. The Pacers are so deep. And I knew they were deep, but I didn't not know. I thought that was their advantage over the Knicks. I thought the Knicks starting five was arguably more talented, but the Pacers would drag you into deep water. I didn't think they could do that to the Thunder, but the bench has been so much better than the Thunder's bench.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Our YouTube chat calling the shot that Perloff will have a TJ McConnell jersey in short order. I'm surprised you don't have one already from his Sixers days.
He hates him.
You hate TJ McConnell?
I hate that whole team. I hate that.
Well, me and you agree on this.
Yeah. No, I just like.
But Perloff's Mr. Bandwagon.
No, I can't believe TJ McConnell's playing this well because he was not that good in Philadelphia. He's bad. He was young, younger. I mean, listen, TJ McConnell is not your typical finals star. He's a bit of a journeyman, I would say.
Definitely a journeyman.
Yeah.
He's 10 years. Isn't he 10 years in the league at this point? 888-710-4ISN. Who you got in a game 7? Perloff and I will give our, I don't know. Do you want to give your prediction right now? You want to hold it?
Oh, God, I want to hold it. This is so hard. I mean, listen, it's hard to pick against the Thunder and OKC, but I told you I put a little bet on plus 265 for the Pacers. I can't quit this team right now. They are so scary to pick against.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have a lean?
Well, I'm not going to bet it because it would make no sense, but I got to give the nod to the home team. It kills me because I think the Pacers are they're not weirdly, they're the better story for sure as an underdog. To be this big of an underdog to win, I think would be unbelievable and a very cool thing for the NBA where we never feel like underdogs have a chance. It would represent maybe a turning point or something different about team building in the NBA. Like I love what the Pacers represent, and maybe they represent that already, and they don't even necessarily have to win it all. But I think OKC is going to come out, and I think it's going to look like Denver a little bit. I think it's going to be like close first half, not a close second half.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see that exactly. I feel like it's going to usher in the era of mid teams winning the title. I think that's how people are going to view it. It's like, oh, if that team can win and Denver can win. I don't like
OKC's like historic defensive team.
No, if Indiana wins, I'm saying. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be viewed as this great underdog because they're beating OKC, who's never won before. Not because OKC's not a great team, but just this new champion every year is affecting the NBA. I really believe that. Adam Silver's on podcast bragging about how the apron system has made parity. But in basketball, unlike NFL, we need a dynasty. I'm sorry. I know that's shallow, but we need to see the same team back. If Indiana wins this year and then wins again next year, then talk to me.
Speaking of dynasties, we got the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff, the 4 sports gods. Let's hit it.
It's time to feast your ears on Maggie and Perloff's Mount Olympus.
Dynasties, synonymous with, a few cities. But certainly Boston, Massachusetts, which is where we are today, and one of the hardest Mount Olympusi we've ever had to do.
Also, too, that's New England. I mean, the Boston TV area covers 5 different states. We haven't even gotten into all those skiers up in New Hampshire and Vermont.
And we will not do that right now. But no, you think about Celtics dynasty, Patriots dynasty, Bruins. I mean, you got it all.
Yeah.
Red Sox, not really a dynasty so much.
But such a historic team.
I mean, let's start there, and I'll just hit you off with my 4 sports gods of Boston. So hard, but I'll start with Big Papi. I mean, it's not a dynasty, but 3 World Series, including breaking the curse of the Bambino. How many clutch hits he had to take down the Yankees in one of the great upsets of all time, any sport, and then to do it again in 2007, and then to do it again in 2013. His speech in the wake of the Boston Marathon bombings, our bleeping city, will never be forgotten. So I put Big Papi on my Mount Olympus, and he is the only Red Sox. Moved to basketball, Bill Russell. Had to do it. Wanted to do it. 11 titles, and I'm going to throw out, the plumbers and firemen. No. We all know what Russell meant, not just being the consummate champion, class, grace in the face of racism, everything that he still represents Boston in a way that maybe sometimes Boston didn't even deserve a champion like him, but they got him, and he is the biggest winner and most noted winner, I think, in professional sports outside of, I guess, Jordan.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then I'm going to go to football. And I'm putting Brady on, and I'm putting Belichick on my Mount Olympus. So that rounds out my 4 sports gods. Brady is the no-brainer. Belichick is the little bit of the wild card. And I think it's just been tainted because of obviously when Brady left and things went downhill. But by the way, name any coach who's able to overcome having a great quarterback. And I know Belichick, maybe ushered him out. But you could understand where Belichick was coming from at the time. And just because Belichick now is dating a 24-year-old and got caught shirtless on a ring cam does not erase, guys, a 40-year NFL career and basically 20-plus years in New England where he was not just a great coach, a feared coach. People became paranoid because of Belichick and, Spygate and all that. You would have loved it if it was your team. We hated it because it was the Patriots.
Well, I do think, though, Belichick's legacy took a hit when Tom Brady won in Tampa Bay. I mean, and then his team fell apart.
But does this erase 6 Super Bowls?
No. But this is a very lofty Mount Olympus. So.
And I think Belichick clears the bar. So I have Belichick, Brady, Bill Russell, and I have Big Papi. I
feel like, and there are also other, and actually, I don't even know if Walsh really had it, but, Bill Walsh won with Montana, and his system won with Young. Joe Gibbs won with multiple different quarterbacks. I do feel like history-wise, that's happening. You know that Brady has ended up on top because there was a conflict.
But here's the thing. If you think if Brady and Bruce Arians were together for 20 years, are they getting 6 Super Bowls? I don't think so.
Ooh, I don't know.
I mean,
Bruce Arians is a pretty good coach.
Listen, I'll do a
bombs away. Let's go.
Cocktail party in the back of the trunk in the parking lot. Sign me up for some Bruce Arians football. No risk it, no biscuit. But they're not winning 6.
But you say that, and I don't think I'm not sure I agree that it's that obvious that he might not have won over 20 years with Bruce Arians and Tom Brady. They won it in 1.
Okay, but how about this? Let me put it a different way. Brady himself says if he got drafted by Arizona, which is a place Bruce Arians famously coached. But anyway, enough about Bruce Arians. If Brady was drafted in Arizona, they don't win. He's not the Tom Brady.
If we were doing Mount Olympus of coaches' hats, Bruce Arians' Kangol would be there with Tom Landry's fedora. Okay. Okay. I have also Tom Brady, obviously. I also have Bill Russell. Although for me, he, believe it or not, even with the 11 titles, was a tough one. Where I differed, I had Bobby Orr, who he's a sports god. There's no other way to describe him. One of the greatest 4 hockey players in the history of the sport. And then my 4th one was Larry Bird. Now, there was a debate on the show. Do you think more of Larry Bird as Boston or Indiana, the hick from French Lick? And we put up a poll. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
Wait, do you recognize Larry Bird most for Boston or Indiana? It's 93% to 6%.
Well, Indiana hasn't woken up yet.
Those
they were
6% of the
partying
votes,
last night.
Those 6% of the votes are from Indiana. I mean, come on, it's
when
Larry
Indiana
Legend.
wakes up and sobers up, they're going to be voting on this, and they're going to be heard from.
Clear your mind, and think of Boston athlete. What's the first face that pops into your head? It's got
Tom Brady.
It's got a blonde mullet. I think Larry, listen, obviously. And Maggie, it's not like you're going to denigrate Larry Bird.
No.
Larry Legend.
I put Russell on. My thing was just putting the 2 football guys. So can I be honest with you? I'm shocked I'm losing this poll this badly.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm shocked that Cap screwed you a little bit, who does our social media. There's such a goofy picture of Bill Belichick here that I would vote against that.
I think Cap's with me, though. I think he has 3 of my 3 of his locks are on my Mount Olympus.
Yeah, you shouldn't have put Belichick.
Guys, he deserves to be on there.
He's the second best coach in the area.
He also cheated. I think there's some people who look at him as he's a cheater.
Not in Boston.
Not in Boston.
No, but I think people who are voting on this poll, it's not a 100% Boston poll.
Okay, but you got to put yourself in the shoes of Boston. Like, if he's their guy.
No, I think also, too, it's crazy not to have Larry Bird on a Boston sports.
I think that's the problem, too.
It's just weird.
Well, I could say that about Ted Williams, and you and I both don't have him on. So this is why Boston is insane.
Larry Bird is from the 80s and played on the Dream Team. Ted Williams, much older. I mean, listen, history and age has to do with this. We did New York, and I went old school, and I think I won that poll, and you went a little more recent. Who is the wild card you had in New York?
Well, I had George Steinbrenner on.
Yeah. And I had a guy named Joe DiMaggio.
Well, I mean, fair.
I also think, and by the way, I watched a lot of videos and read a lot on this. A lot of people have Bobby Orr. Mark Wahlberg did a famous video. He had Bobby Orr as the #1 athlete in Boston sports history. Oh, by the way, we didn't mention Ray Bork too. And there's just so many legends. You could go 20 deep in this. I'm serious.
This is why it's impossible. 888-710-4ISN. I'm just surprised I'm losing by this much. Like, that Belichick was the bus rider here? Like, let's not rewrite history in a way that is just false.
I think you should have put Bird over Russell. He's just more recent. That's my only reason.
Well, I don't know if there is a Larry Bird.
Also, but Russell is also part of a bigger thing. Russell was part of a dynasty. Like he coached the team too. Like I don't separate him from everything. Like he was part of the greatest team in NBA history, where Bird was more a singular force on that team. I know that sounds great. I know he had
I think
Mikal
the 86
Paris.
Celtics, though, are believed to be one of the greatest teams in NBA history.
But over a span, Russell and Auerbach and Kuzi and Havlicek, they all did it together. Russell even talks about this. Like Russell was very much a team player, and was his best ability. He would do whatever you needed to do.
And you don't think Bird was passing to McHale?
I do, but Bird came to Boston and just changed everything in a heartbeat. I mean, they were terrible. Then he got there, and they were the best team in the NBA.
What do you think? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476, the Mount Olympus of Boston, Mass. 4 sports gods. What do we get right? What do we get wrong? It's the Maggie Perloff Show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Here we go. Boston, Mount Olympus, 4 sports guys, gods from Boston. Neil Diamond from New York. But of course, if you go to a Red Sox game, you will hear that song. So I have Larry Bird, Tom Brady, Bill Russell, and Bobby Orr. Maggie?
I went with Tom Brady and Belichick. I went with David Ortiz, and I went with Bill Russell.
Larry Bird, come on. Larry, legend.
I know. It's hard to do. I put Belichick on over him. 888-710-4ISN. 888-710-4476. Let's get... Yes, go ahead.
I actually...
and I'm losing the poll, and I get that, but I think it's defensible.
We put a tweet out. When you think of Larry Bird, you think of Boston or Indiana, and 2 people replied, I think of short shorts.
Stylish in any state.
Yes.
Those legs travel.
I think
Bogusch
about Black Converse.
has headlines.
None of us could have played this well with 2 healthy Cavs.
Out of the far corner, Neesmith goes back to Haliburton. Caruso stalking him on the right sideline. Here comes a long, long, long one from out beyond the half mark. Haliburton's third three.
Mark Boyle on Pacers Radio. Tyrese Haliburton and his strained right calf putting up 14 points and 5 assists, fueling a 108-91 rout of the Thunder, forcing Game 7 in OKC Sunday night. Haliburton happy to do anything in a win.
I just look at it as, I want to be out there to compete with my brothers. These are guys that I'm willing to go to war with, and we've had such a special year, and we have a special bond as a group. And, I think I beat myself up if I didn't give it a chance.
And now they have a chance to steal this title from the Thunder. The road team won the last finals Game 7. That was the 2016 Cavs over the Warriors. But altogether, home teams 15-4 when the finals goes the distance. This one was far easier than it should have been for the Pacers. 6 players scored in double figures, led by 20 from Obi Toppin, Pascal Siakam, 16 points and 13 boards. Just 21 points from SGA, only 16 from Jalen Williams, only 4 points from Chet Holmgren. He was 2 for 9 from the floor. Scary moment last night in the Rays' 4-1 loss to the Orioles. Tampa Bay reliever Hunter Biggie hit in the side of the head by a foul ball. He was watching from the dugout railing. The ball came off the bat of Adley Rutschman at 105 miles an hour. Biggie eventually left the field on a stretcher, giving the crowd a thumbs up. Manager Kevin Cash.
He's coherent. He's talking to the physician. He's going to have a lot of tests over, right now. I think he's getting some tests done and probably throughout the night.
Biggie did remain in the hospital overnight. The Padres got a 5-3 win at Dodger Stadium, avoiding a 4-game sweep. The A's dropped the Astros 6-4-10. And I hate the Mets.
Line in the pitch, swung on, hook to right field. Stay fair ball into the corner. Everybody run. Everybody touch the bags. Everybody get waved home. Here's a throw to the plate. Save! A 3-run double for Olsen.
And a 7-1 win for his Braves. The Mets taking a 3-game sweep at Atlanta. They've dropped 6 in a row overall. And since the Phillies won in Miami 2-1, they are now tied with those Phils atop the NL East. And they play in Philadelphia this weekend.
Anyone think about going down to one of those games? Cross my mind.
That'd be so fun. Yeah.
It's going to be 100 degrees. Like there's a heat wave that's coming.
Yeah.
I was like, I that's going to make this a little less enjoyable, but it crossed my mind.
Yeah, plus, I mean, the threat of my life.
We were talking about...
Well, don't wear a Mets jersey. You'll be fine.
We were talking about fights earlier, why there seems like there's less in pro sports. Back in the day at Veterans Stadium as a kid, Mets, Phillies, you'd see 15 fights a night because the Mets fans all traveled down and everyone was hammered, and it was great. Because I didn't have to fight.
I was waiting for that. And those were the good old days.
Point of pride. I mean, listen, if you're going to build a prison, you got to put people in it, in the stadium.
I know, but you used to see that at Yankees Red Sox too all the time during 04 and 03, like one of the heights, let alone the 70s.
No.
Seriously.
You think that fancy Yankees stadium? I've been to many, many Yankees games. That is nothing like the Phillies. And the Phillies, Mets, and Maggie.
At Shea Stadium, I saw a guy, Mets Phillies game. A guy in a Phillies jersey was walking along the concourse, like between the two sections of seats, and everyone's booing. His arms in the air. A guy comes running down from like 10 rows and just knocks him out with one punch, and then goes back to his seat.
Listen,
nothing happened. He didn't get kicked out of the game.
I don't remember anything after the punch.
Can I tell you how bad the Vet was where I grew up watching games? Shea Stadium was Shangri-La. I was like, this is the nicest stadium I've ever been to. And Shea Stadium might be the most disliked stadium on earth. But you didn't have to run from feral cats to go to the bathroom like you did at the Vet.
It was like wildlife?
Yeah, you had no idea what was going to happen at the Vet. Sorry, Yankees, Red Sox. You might fight on the field, but yeah, let's go down and let's start a fight.
Man, can I just tell you this from like the young girl's perspective? Like I remember going to MetLife Stadium, or it wasn't MetLife, it was just Giants Stadium then, and having to like wait for my stepdad outside of the men's room while he went in there. And it was just like, what am I watching here? Let alone the Bills games. The Bills also had I think I have like a mini jail under the Ralph Wilson. And I just remember multiple times people drunk, dressed as Santa. It's not even December, running out of the field and just getting not just tackled, decapitated.
Yes.
I mean,
the good old days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very lucky that this day and age with a daughter that there are those like family bathrooms now at these big arenas. So like I can let her go in there by herself and wait outside as opposed to having to let her on a line into whatever that's going on in there. Can I just
say, like, this is a weird one, but it's so gross, and I'm not trying to gross people out, but so obviously there's no such thing as a trough, like, in a women's bathroom. Like,
thank God.
And we're very civilized over there, but that would never work.
You physically can't do a trough.
I know. So I had no idea such a thing existed.
Well, I mean, you physically could do it, but it wouldn't be.
It'd be ugly.
It wouldn't be ladylike.
It's not happening.
Have you guys, by the way, I still want to do a road trip to that Clippers stadium.
With all the bathrooms?
Yes.
Anyways.
That thing sounds like Shangri-La. More bathrooms than any arena in the history of the sport.
Well, I'm going to finish this up. I didn't know such a thing existed until I happened to catch a weird angle at the old Giants Stadium. I was like, what is that?
Wait. Old Giants Stadium?
Yeah. I happened to go to a World Cup game there in 1994 when I was 11.
I don't think there was a trough.
There was not a trough in Giant Stadium?
I don't remember that.
That's where it happened. Maybe I'm mixing it up with the Bills Stadium.
I don't think the Giants ever. You could look at that. I've been to that stadium many times. I don't remember a trough.
The old one? No? Okay, maybe I was thinking of Ralph Wilson. But anyway, I saw it as a young girl, and you can't unsee that. Let's get to our guest, shall we? Ben Volin, I'm sure, is so delighted to drop in on this conversation. We're talking about old school, when you used to go to games and there'd be fist fights in the crowd, and just feels like a different time now. Do you think the same as being an NFL writer covering the Patriots? Do you see as many fights in the stands?
No, not nearly as much. It's much more of a wine and cheese crowd at NFL games now. But the Super Bowl this year in New Orleans had an old school feel. You were talking about the troughs down in the concourse of the Superdome. Like, we were down there for media day, I guess, and I had to go to the restroom. And the bathrooms down there have not been renovated, and they still have the troughs at the Superdome down in the concourse, or below not for the fans, but for the workers and stuff. And then at the Super Bowl, a game where people are spending thousands and thousands of dollars on tickets. I think it was halftime, and I walked into a restroom on the concourse, and there was vomit on the floor everywhere. So New Orleans still can bring it as far as an old school fan experience.
Let me introduce you properly. Ben Volin, senior NFL writer at the Boston Globe, and he's joining us because today Boston is front and center. It's the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff. We're doing the 4 sports gods of every great sports city in this country. And I'm going to be honest, Ben, Perloff and I were both just really, really tied up about Boston. It's probably, along with LA, New York, a few others, one of the most impossible cities to just pick 4. Quickly, I want to give you ours, and you can tell us what we got right and what we got wrong. Perl, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, I went with Larry Bird, Bill Russell, Tom Brady, and Bobby Orr.
So I went with Brady and Belichick. I went with Russell and David Ortiz. Who do you think got closer to how people in Boston feel about their sports gods?
So I did this exercise myself yesterday when you guys invited me on the show, and my choices, I think, are closer to Perloff. I think Perloff got it a little bit more right. Bill Belichick, I can't put him on the Mount Rushmore, because how do you choose him over Red Auerbach? I mean, Red Auerbach was just this legendary coach that won all these titles in the 60s, and then, put the Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish team together in the 80s. I don't know how you distinguish between Belichick and Auerbach, so I can't put a coach on there. So Brady's the obvious one. I don't think we need to spend much time on Brady. Bill Russell, who you both have, I've got him as well. 11-time champion in 13 seasons. The NBA's first black superstar, the first black coach to win a championship. I think Bill Russell's pretty obvious. I went for one for every sport. I really considered Larry Bird. That was a tough one to leave off for me. But I think the Boston has so much tradition and history and great players that you can go one for every sport. So I've got Bobby Orr on there as well. Some people consider him the greatest hockey player of all time. 3 straight MVPs, still holds scoring records for defensemen. The only defenseman to win the scoring title, like Bobby Orr, changed the game forever. I discovered in 1975, the Boston Globe did a poll, and Bobby Orr was named the greatest athlete in Boston history over Bill Russell, over Ted Williams and other guys. And then I go Ted Williams for my 4th. The Splendid Splinter still holds the Major League Baseball record, 482 on base percentage, 19-time All-Star, the last guy to hit 400. He won the Triple Crown. And here's what's most amazing about Ted Williams. He lost his age 25 to 27 seasons to be a fighter pilot in World War II. Think of the numbers this guy would have put up if he didn't miss the 3, prime career years in his career. So I go Bill Russell, Tom Brady, Bobby Orr, and Ted Williams. One guy from each sport. We hit the different eras of Boston sports. And so that's where I land on that.
19-time All-Star. Wow. By the way, guess his on-base percentage for his career. .482. That's his on-base percentage. Yeah, I mean, but Larry Bird had to kill you, though, right, Ben? That was the one with me, because I picture him not just as a player, but also kind of representative of everything, very Boston-y to me.
Absolutely. I mean, Larry Bird, 3-time champion, 3-time MVP. He was 9-time first-team All-NBA in 13 years. Not like first and second team, 9 times on the first team. So Larry Bird was absolutely... he's 4 with an asterisk. I would Bobby Orr might be the guy I bump off that list for Larry Bird if I did it, but obviously I went with Orr, and it's really nice having one from every sport. That kind of rounds out the Mount Rushmore pretty well. But Boston's a city. Maybe we need 2 Mount Rushmores.
Yeah.
How do you leave off Red Auerbach and Bill Belichick and David Ortiz and Larry Bird? So I think we need more than one mountain here.
Yeah, well, we also sometimes for some cities we do the Hades, the underworld. Sometimes it's the gods, and then the gods of the underworld with some of the infamous players who have also played in Boston, which we were talking about. What do you do with a Kurt Schilling? What do you do with some of the other more polarizing guys? Ben Volin joining us from the Boston Globe. So, Ben, how far has Belichick fallen in the eyes of Patriots fans?
The last, I'd say, 5-6 years have been pretty rough. Honestly, I think his record with the Patriots post Brady has done more to hurt himself in the eyes of Patriots fans than this stuff now with Jordan Hudson. I mean, I think everyone here is kind of viewing that from a distance like a car wreck, just like with fascination. Like, how could this guy who was so good at blocking out the noise and eliminating distractions now all of a sudden become DMZ fodder and be signing up for it. So that part is just very strange. People, I think, are watching it with strange fascination. But his record after Brady left in 4 seasons, they only made the playoffs once. They couldn't rebuild the team back to a competitive caliber again. The last season was a disaster, 4-13. So, it just gave more juice to the, he's never won without, Brady crowd and that whole argument. And if you do look at his career record in Cleveland and before Tom Brady took over, then afterwards, I mean, Belichick is I believe a sub 500 coach. So that's why I can't put Belichick on the Mount Rushmore. And that's why I think Patriots fans, I think everyone's come around to it was mostly Tom Brady, but let's not minimize Bill Belichick's contributions here, but obviously Brady's the one who's responsible for a lot of the success.
Maybe in 10 years, we'll have Mike Vrabel on, our Mount Olympus player, now the coach. What's the excitement level? There's some national hype, Ben, for the Patriots. What's the excitement level in Boston for the upcoming season?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot more excitement for the season, and there is a lot of hype. You're seeing it in the over/under win totals for a team that went 4-13. All of a sudden, everyone's expecting them to win at least 8 or 9 games this year. So there is a lot of pressure. They spent a lot of money in free agency, the most of any team, to bring in all these veteran players. And Stephon Diggs, I think people are definitely excited about having a legitimate number one receiver, assuming he can come back pretty well from that torn ACL. With Mike Vrabel, he brings credibility. With all due respect to Gerard Mayo, he was a first-time head coach, and he talked every day about how he was learning on the job. Whereas with Mike Vrabel, he's been there and done that. He's won NFL Coach of the Year. He's come into Foxborough and beaten Tom Brady on the road in a playoff game. And he's Mr. Patriot with the 3 Super Bowl titles and everything that he's meant to the franchise as a player. So I definitely think the Patriots got the hire right this year. But there is a lot of hype for them right now, and they still have a lot of issues. And I'm still not I'm still not totally sold on the offense. So I do wonder if maybe the expectations are getting a little bit ahead of the Patriots right now, because they still are, have a young team. Drake May is a young quarterback, still has to learn how to win. They still have a long way to go here in New England.
Well, the better thing for Diggs, be on dry land. It's better when he's on dry land. Being on a boat, not so much. Ben Volin with us from Boston Globe. Ben, just one last one for you. And obviously, you cover the Patriots, you cover football, but we feel like we have you on today to talk about the Mount Olympus, the 4 sports gods of Boston. So I feel like I can ask you kind of any Boston question, so forgive me. Where is Boston now on the Rafi Devers trade? Has this worked with the Red Sox, like really slandering him on the way out? Like, is this 100-0 where everyone now blames Devers and no one blames the organization, or how has this gone?
I sense, honestly, like a 50-50 split. I think half the fan base is just really glad to be done with a guy who you're paying all that money to, and he refuses to be a team player and do, play first base and just acting grumpy all the time. And it's like, you're supposed to be the team leader and you're making over $30 million a year. He was a bad seed in the clubhouse, all of that. So I think a lot of the fans are glad to be done with that. And I think a lot of the fans are just completely up in arms and done with the fact that the Red Sox have become this like mid-market team that doesn't spend money. And it's like, they let Xander Bogaerts go, they let Mookie Betts go, and they clench their teeth and sign Devers to that contract. But the first escape hatch they get, they take it and they dump the contract and get rid of the guy. And it's like, this is the Boston Red Sox. This is a crown jewel franchise, and they're letting all their top players leave, and they're trying to be the Tampa Bay Rays, get guys on value and 1-year deals with guys and, that kind of thing. So I think a lot of fans are just upset that there's no real urgency to win. Fenway Park is a tourist destination, and it's full every summer, whether the team is good or bad. And I think fans sense that ownership doesn't have the urgency to win like they used to. And trading away Devers is another sign that they're more concerned with, their bottom line and their analytics than they are with putting the best product out on the field.
Well, when Maggie said she could ask you anything, I was sure she was going to Stephon Diggs' personal life. As a Patriots, do you have to go to the building and keep up to date on who he's dating and all the drama there?
I've learned that I need to because Stephon Diggs, through his relationship with Cardi B, is blowing up into a mega star. And I can write an article saying Stephon Diggs sneezed today, and it gets a lot of clicks on the web. He's becoming web gold. So you need to know his personal life and who he's hanging with and that kind of thing. And Stephon Diggs. It's funny. You hear I've heard a few comments from Patriots fans who are like, it's good that we finally have a receiver who's, partying on a boat and getting in trouble. It's been a while since the Patriots have even had a caliber of player who can do that.
Careful what you wish for there, Ben, for those fans, not you. Thank you so much for doing this. Ben Volin, of course, you can read him. The Boston Globe does a great job covering the Pats, which is going to be a very exciting season with Drake May and Mike Vrabel. And thanks for lending your expertise to our Mount Olympus of Boston.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Okay, coming up, Shedeur Sanders. What's going on with the speeding? And is it going to be a problem when he is competing for the Browns quarterback job? We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Perloff, the Mount Olympus Project, the 4 sports gods from every great sports city. Today is Boston. It's impossible. Perloff's wiping the floor with me in our online poll because I had the audacity to put Bill Belichick on there.
The second greatest coach in Boston sports history.
Bill Belichick, how dare I?
It is so funny, but we have learned. I think a lot of people think it's the Brady winning the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay and Belichick stinking with Mac Jones.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's so easy for anyone to move on from a franchise quarterback.
Bill Walsh did.
Well, but it was George Seifert who won.
Yeah, but it was really Bill Walsh. Yeah, I know. It's funny that, Seifert technically won it, but I feel like, Joe Gibbs won with 3 different. I think Landry won with multiple quarterbacks.
So do you think we're now cracking open the greatest NFL coach of all time, discussion? Because I felt like Belichick pretty much wrapped it up with, the 6th Super Bowl.
Yeah, but there was some recency bias because Lombardi is in a special category. Paul Brown's in a special category. I think definitely some recency bias. Kind of like people have LeBron as the number 2 player of all time, like recency bias.
Yeah, sure. Peter is in San Diego. Peter, what do you think about our Boston sports gods?
I picked, like your guest, I picked one in each of the major sports. And I'm with you on Bill Russell and Tom Brady. And I wanted to throw out somebody that wasn't mentioned yet with the Boston Bruins, the center, number 7, Phil Esposito.
Yeah.
Had a great career.
Yep.
No doubt. Peter, sorry, did you do all 4? You did Brady, you said Russell, Phil Esposito, and who else?
And the last one is Yaz. Yaz holds still, Carl Yastrzemski.
But hold on one second. Can I defend David Ortiz? I mean, don't call me recency bias with Ortiz. 3 World Series, breaking a curse. I mean, Peter, what more does the guy have to do?
That's great for that time of those 6 years or whatever, those 3 years, but all-time Boston records, Yaz holds all of them. He's 6th all-time still hits in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
He holds the record for runs scored, RBIs, singles, doubles, games played, 18-time All-Star, 7 Gold Gloves, and a Triple Crown winner as well.
Hey, Peter, can we give a shout-out to Jim Rice, too, one of the most underrated players in sports history?
Yeah, to Jim Rice and his center fielder, Lynn also.
Fred Lynn,
Fred Lynn.
But Yaz obviously is
23 years with the Red Sox. 23 years, his entire career.
In a normal city, Carl Yastrzemski would have a great shot at making Mount Olympus. In a normal city.
Okay, and Peter, thank you for the call, and great call on Phil Esposito, and that's awesome. But can I just bring something up from earlier this week when we were talking about ring culture, right? And Perloff, you're like, it's professional sports, you're supposed to win. And I get Carl Yastrzemski and Ted Williams are all-time amazing players, and Fred Lynn and everyone.
Oh, I know.
But David Ortiz, who was hitting those game-winning singles in the bottom of the 14th inning, in the bottom of the 14th inning to beat the Yankees in 2004? It's David Ortiz.
David Ortiz doesn't need you defending him here. It's fine.
I'm defending myself. No, he does not need me.
But I think Peter was just, I don't think he wasn't saying put Carlos Yastrzemski on there because you only have 4 spots.
Right,
I think he was.
I think he was. Like, that's what I'm saying.
What was his 4?
His was, I think it was
Esposito,
Yaz.
It was he agreed you guys with Brady and Russell.
And then put Yaz and Esposito on.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, he's taking Bill Russell off. I think he was just trying to add to the conversation. It's
I don't know. He had the whole resume ready to go with the singles and the doubles.
Over Bobby Orr? I don't think so.
Well, he said it.
And he said Fred Lynn and Jim Rice get. By the way, Fred Lynn, sick player back in the day. We have not, honestly. What about Pedro? What about Clemens?
I put Big Papi over them as far as sports
all right, let me ask you a question. If Big Papi didn't do the speach, would you put it on this list?
The speech may have put it over the top because I love the speech.
Me too.
This is our Bleepin' City speech. But the 3 World Series is what really did it for a team that was known for never being able to win.
And how close is Manny to getting more credit, but without the PEDs?
Dude, I love Manny Ramirez. He might be one of the best
right-handed hitter of our generation.
He's incredible, but he couldn't stop taking stuff. Talk about characters, though. All right, coming up, Connor McDavid. Uh-oh.
The dawn,
You're in a
coffee
5-minute.
brewing, screen turned on. Pine Needles wakes up at dawn. Coffee brewing, screen turned on. He's got a favorite show to see. The Maggie and Perloff Symphony. Oh, Pine Needles are turning tight to infinity. Sports radio every night. Maggie and Perloff, your daily delight. In their words, you find your life. From highlights to the breaking news, every take you can't refuse. In the chat, he's always there with comments, questions, wisdom to share. Oh, Pine Needles, you're tuned in tight to infinity. Sports radio every night. Maggie and Perloff, your daily delight. In their words, you find your life. When the games get tough and the stakes are high, Pine Needles knows where to rely on the voices that break it down. Maggie and Perloff never let him down. He's got a playlist all saved up, from epic wins to the close-up.
Lord, Marion High. Pat Boyle's got a secret, it's tucked away. Hidden cameras in his place, recording all day. When his date walks in, they don't know the deal. They're part of his own reality reel. Pat's out on the town trying to find the one. Swiping right and left, but he's just having fun. Dinner dates and wine, he's keeping it light. But there's a bigger question keeping him up at night. Is it time to give or time to wait? Does he help someone out or stick to his fate? He's living the life, but what does it mean when you're asked to be part of someone's baby dream? Pat Boyle's in a bind, what should he do? Should he be a donor or let love find him too? Texts keep coming from all his matches, but the sperm bank's off for man it catches. Could his DNA bring joy to a stranger's home? While Pat's still out there looking for his own. Is it time to give or time to wait? Does he help someone out or stick to his fate? He's living the life, but what does it mean when you're asked to be part of someone's baby dream? Pat Boyle's in a bind, what should he do? Should he be a donor or let love find him too? Late night thoughts racing through his head. Could be making babies while he's still alone in bed. The date seems wild, it's a crazy ride, but maybe this choice could give him some pride. So Pat's weighing options emotions, it's a heavy lift. Could be an adult or be the ultimate gift. Love may come and go, but here's the deal. Pat's decision might be more than just what he feels. Hell yeah. Andrew Perloff, he's swinging so smooth. Junior varsity tennis, he's got the groove. Lower Marion's pride, a rising star. But Ernest still bullies him from afar. Ernest yells he'll never be great, but Perloff still winning, sealing his fate. The word is knocks him day and night. There's something else that just ain't right. Where's Peter Bowley? He's gone again. Didn't show up, it's driving us insane. Missed another day, he's MIA. Peter's ghosting work and it's not okay. Forget the tennis, forget the score. Peter's out the door, can't take it
Maggie and
anymore.
Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Rebound punched outside. Shepard fires from the top.
good.
He hit it, and that's going to count. He hit a three as time expired. The lead is 30.
There's your Ben Shepard NBA Finals highlight that you were dying for. But you know what? It was that kind of a game where everyone on the Pacers just couldn't miss. They win easily in Game 6. We get a Game 7. Perloff, it was contributions by everyone literally on the team. However, it was Haliburton looking so healthy when all that was made about his calf and whether he should even play on it because he could tear his Achilles. We talked about that for 2 days. He looked awesome yesterday.
Yeah. Well,
You thought he looked different?
No, he
looked
didn't
like he was
look
playing
different.
at full speed.
It definitely wasn't his most dominant game. There are a couple games where he just takes over and he can score 30. I was actually he looked good, and then he missed his first 2 jumpers, I believe. He missed a 3, and I was like, ooh, that went in and out. I was surprised that then he just started feeling it from outside. When Haliburton shoots like that from three-point line, that's really dangerous. If that happens in Game 7, the OKC could be in for a really hard time.
Yeah, and Tyrese Haliburton didn't even play 23 minutes in this game because it was such a blowout. He gets to rest, and now, again, we get the Game 7 on the road. I asked you before, who do you think is going to win this Game 7? Now, to be fair, OKC, major favorites here.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about what's your best bet, but just who do you think is going to win?
I mean, I do think the Thunder win this one, but I think it's way more nerve-wracking than it should be. So they blew out the Nuggets in the Game 7 of the second round of the Western Conference playoffs. That wasn't even close. I don't think they're going to be able to do that to Indiana because I think Indiana has just got too much heart. I mean, they have some strategic advantages. Their bench has so much more confidence now. I don't even think that their bench is better. They mentally are destroying Oklahoma City Thunder's bench. Also, I don't know Mark Daboll. I don't trust him necessarily. Do you? I mean,
well, he got out-coached last night.
Yeah, I don't know that he knows the right adjustment. I know Rick Carlisle does, the Pacers coach. So I'm still picking the Thunder, but it is a very, very cautious pick. Who do you got?
Well, see, I also have the Thunder, but I think it's going to look a little bit more like the Nuggets, which is a shame to say because I think that the Pacers, what a story. If they could win this and be the biggest underdog in NBA Finals history to win a title, I'm all for, I have no rooting interest here, so I'm all for seeing the cool underdog story. Although, to be honest, like the Pacers, OKC, it's not a traditional David versus Goliath because OKC's never won.
Why does it not feel like an underdog story? I know the odds and all that. Something about the personnel, it just doesn't feel like Villanova versus Georgetown in any way at all to me.
Which, to be honest, though, OKC does have the MVP and someone who gets comparisons to Michael Jordan. So maybe it should be a little more David versus Goliath, but I'll agree with you. It doesn't feel that way.
But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is sort of quiet. Even last night, you saw him. He just doesn't fluctuate so much he's always steady. He's solid. It doesn't feel like if he blows you out, he's going to do it kind of quietly. I don't know. There's so much similar with these two teams. Honestly, like they're reflections of each other in many ways, I think. Guys, not a lot of top 5 picks, not a lot of obvious all-stars, a lot of really, really hard-working players.
So I do think that this could be close, but in the first half, and I think it may be a little bit more of a blowout because I'm not sure that the Pacers, while they have been a really good road team, I don't know if the role players in a Game 7, when you have the home crowd against you like that, I don't know if the role players, if we expect them to be as good as they've been. Now, the TJ McConnells and who have become like stars in their own right after being a journeyman, but can you really tell me that the Obi Toppins and the Ben Shepherds and the
Mathurin didn't play well last night. He'll probably blow up in Game 7.
Again, Benedict Mathurin.
Totally unpredictable. But I think the second that Obi Toppin came out last night and hit his first 2 threes, the Thunder started making travel plans for Game 7. They're like, oh, well, if he's going to hit those, we're not winning.
I know, which kind of is disappointing from OKC, is it not? I mean, listen, they had the Game 7 in their back pocket, but that is a tough thing to rely on, even if you and I both think they're going to win it. We have no idea. It is Game 7 for a reason. The last time we had a Game 7 in the NBA Finals, the road team won. It was LeBron James's Cleveland Cavaliers against the Warriors. You just don't know. You're leaving a lot up to chance, and I'm going to agree with you. No fight, no.
They look disinterested. I'm saying they just did not look like they were into it. Some of the turnovers were lazy. Also,
sloppy.
Too, I think that the Pacers see something like they need to pass the ball more. They can't dribble so much because the Pacers, they're not calling the reach-ins as much.
Yep.
So the Pacers are going to try and attack the dribble a lot. I think they got to move the ball. I think Shea has got to get everybody involved, which is easy to say for me, but I think they play their best when Shea scores 35, but everybody else feels engaged. And last night it didn't feel that way.
Shea did finish with 21 last night, but the 8 turnovers are obviously what's getting a lot of the attention, and rightfully so. So this is, I'm excited for a Game 7, but I was really disappointed with OKC. Again, you're right. Felt like they waved the white flag super early. I mean, at one point, they had an 8-0 run that cut it to 18. This is how big of a blowout this game was. The 8-0 run cut it to 18, and then it just fell apart. I think the Pacers hit a couple shots, and that was it. I mean, nobody was playing in the fourth quarter. It was weird.
I was actually
weird
thinking
for a
about
Game
it.
6.
Should they have gone small ball? Like, should they should they start thinking about it's too late now, but should they start thinking of completely new approaches to stopping? I just don't, I'm not
sure.
sure.
Not playing Holmgren and Hartenstein together?
Yeah, like honestly, like go with 5 guards. Like remember Caruso was covering Nikola Jokic?
Yep.
That kind of thing. Like maybe they should approach this series differently. They seem to be playing into the Pacers' hands at times. Even the Game 4 when they won, I mean, that was by the skin of their teeth.
No, Indiana should have won that game until Shea took it over in the last 3 minutes.
I don't think OKC has figured out this Indiana team.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Well, to that point, it's like because there's a lot of people to figure out.
Yep.
You know, you don't know who's going to have the hot hand or who's going to have the hot stretch. Whether it's Siakam at some points that looks the unstoppable, TJ McConnell, and then Obi Toppin, and then Haliburton.
Yeah, I mean, this is the same postseason. The postseason is 5 months long.
Yeah.
But do you remember Aaron Nesmith was the hero at one point?
EJ unfortunately does.
Do you remember Miles Turner had some big games? I don't even know is he still playing anymore?
He's starting.
You never hear his name anymore. He has not been a huge part of this series, actually. But he could get red hot too. It's it is a very interesting team because I mean Ben Shepard. All of a sudden, I did not see him coming this postseason.
You know what he looks like? So I don't know if he's can you conjure what he looks like? If you're driving in your car right now, Ben Shepard is the guy who's got the mustache.
Like a 1920s mustache. Is that where you're going?
It's a little Harlem Nights, like I could see that, but he also looks like the guy who plays the boyfriend on a sitcom. Like he's only going to be in here for a couple episodes, guys. Don't worry. But like now, he's dating the daughter.
Like I can see. Friends.
What's that?
Like Brad Pitt and Friends.
But Brad Pitt was Brad Pitt. This is a little more anonymous actor.
He looks like I think you're thinking of the boyfriend in Cosby Show a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I'm getting it from.
That guy. But can you tell me where Ben Shepard went to college?
Don't do this to me.
No, you shouldn't be able to. I had to just look it up. It's Belmont.
I know.
Oh, EJ had it.
Yeah, I knew that.
Bulldogs? Belmont?
Bruins.
That was way
There's
off.
a lot of But again, and I harp on this because it's a modern NBA. There's a lot of guys on this court who've been in the G League. I mean, it's. I was actually shocked. TJ McConnell never did a G League stint, which I was surprised by.
Now he's a household name. His dad has become a national figure. It was on a NBA TV postgame show last night. His daughter's in the WNBA. He's got a son in the NBA Finals. It's a proud dad. High school basketball coach in the Pittsburgh area.
Do the Thunder just have too many guys and they just don't know which one? Like I feel like Aaron Wiggins, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, they're all good enough to play much better than they're playing. But the fact that the coach kind of brings them in and out of the lineup, and Case on Wallace too, I just think that the confidence seems to be sinking at times for these role players.
But isn't this something we were touting as a strength?
It should be.
Like a couple days ago?
It's a strength for the Pacers, just as you mentioned, with Ben Shepherd stepping up. But it seems like a weakness to me. Like I don't think they're getting the most out of these role players in this series, where in the past they have got a lot.
I mean, listen, we did see last series, OKC just got blown out, like in, what was it, game 2? No, game 3? What was the game against Minnesota where they just got blown out?
Game 3.
Oh,
game
right.
They just got
140,
totally destroyed. Right? They lost by 40 or something, and it was historic just how bad they were. And they came back and won the next game. I'm getting a little vibe of that. They are able to flush these bad losses really easily. So who do you got? 888-710-4ISN. Meanwhile, our sights are on Boston, Massachusetts today because the Maggie and Perloff Mount Olympus, the 4 sports gods from every great city in this country and parts of Canada, it's in Boston today. And I just feel like I'm getting too much of an avalanche of negativity on this one because I put Bill Belichick in there. And apparently that's what I think is really tanking my ability to win this round.
Yeah, I think it could be a combo. I think not having Larry Bird on there just feels totally wrong to me. How is Larry Bird not on a Mount Olympus? The guy's one of the top 6 or 7 NBA players of all time, but he's just Mr. Boston Celtic.
Okay, but we had Ben Volin on from the Boston Globe, who, boots on the ground, did not have Larry Bird on his Mount Olympus either. He had Bill Russell, just like I did. You and he both went with Bobby Orr. I respect that. I did not put him on. I went with David Ortiz. You did not put a baseball player on.
Yeah, I couldn't choose. Well, I wanted Poppy. He was probably my 5th choice.
Boston Red Sox history that goes back dawn of time. It was cavemen and then the Boston Red Sox. That's how history went. And you have no Red Sox on there. That's not hurting you at all. And yet my putting Belichick on there, along with Brady, obviously, is what's killing me.
Well, it's also, too, you have 2 Patriots, and arguably, historically, that's the 4th franchise.
But you have no Red Sox. And that's like the number 1 franchise. And I gave you the curse breaker. Yeah,
but listen, the Celtics, I don't know. I mean, the Red Sox, historically, if we're looking at 150 years, are they really, are the Red Sox the lovable team, but the Celtics are the franchise? Like, that is the most famous franchise. They have, who's ahead right now, the Lakers or the Celtics? I mean,
I think they're tied.
They're tied at 17?
No, Celtics broke the tie with the last title.
Okay. But no, the Lakers get them back with
remember, just Jason Taylor and Brown just won.
Oh, the last one. Yeah.
They just broke.
So it's the most iconic NBA franchise.
See, I think the Lakers are the most iconic.
What?
Well, okay. I mean, split hairs there. You're
right. But the
right.
Lakers have L.A. Like, people don't even like sports in L.A. This is Boston.
Celtics have the most winningest Boston franchise.
Of course, right.
Right, so and I put Bill Russell, 11 championships. I put him on my Mount Olympus. So I have basketball. I just don't have Bird. That's where I'm getting hung up here. This is why I'm losing.
I think the thing is, and I said this before, and maybe if we did this poll, if we somehow could like just make all Boston people vote, maybe it'd be different. I just think that Bill Belichick's stock is at an all-time low. It cannot be any worse than it is right now.
And I factored that in, but I'm not going to be the prisoner of a moment when we're doing a Mount Olympus. We're not doing the sports gods of right now. We're doing the sports gods of all history of Boston.
I know.
So those 6 Super Bowls, because the NFL is not the smallest and the NFL is not the weakest. And was there anything bigger during that 20-year Patriots dynasty than the Patriots?
No, but I do think that when we talk about Belichick, I'm not even talking about Jordan Hudson. Like Brady winning that Super Bowl and having that success in Tampa, and then you have him leave, and then Belichick's still in New England, and it's an unmitigated disaster. Like, I think that's going to be tough for, I think, people to get over. I think people are now going to always look at that resume and say, great, but is this really a Tom Brady thing?
But EJ, now I get that, but here's the deal. Who's great at the end of anything? Very few people in sports ride off into the sunset, right? And especially for coaches. We talk about Vince Lombardi. He didn't finish in Green Bay, guys. Okay? Like, coaches sometimes, we'll see how this goes with Pete Carroll. There's other guys at the end. It's not that. Joe Gibbs came back to Washington. How'd it go? Spoiler, terrible. Now, Dan Snyder had a little to do with that. But again, sometimes this doesn't work out like a fairy tale, and it's going to discredit 20 years of them being the most feared team in the NFL because he missed with Cam Newton and with Mac Jones.
Well, Cam Newton should have been a little better. But yeah, I think really he probably deserves to be on the Cleveland Browns Olympus more for making playoffs. I think there's an elephant in the room with Boston sports, and you can't really ignore it.
What's that?
The fact that Larry Bird was a white NBA superstar to come in 1980.
Sure.
That
elevates him in a city like Boston.
Well, no, I mean, Boston had the racism against Bill Russell was well known, and Boston, the cliche is Boston loved the white guy. I mean, that's just a thing. And you had this Shamrock on. It's an Irish city.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was a ton going on. If you watch the show Winning Time, it was Magic versus Bird. And there's a much bigger societal thing going on where Larry Bird had an impact there. I mean, that's obvious, right? I mean,
sure.
I mean,
that's why I think Bill Russell must be on this Mount Olympus.
Yeah, but I think in Boston, though, Bird resonated in a large way because he was this white superstar. Mm-hmm. What Bird did to the NBA was to have the Bird Magic rivalry too cannot be understated. It was a little different than Russell. Like, the NBA exploded because this guy was here and Magic was in LA, and you had sort of working class Boston versus glitzy LA, and that's why Bird is symbolic of a lot of things in Boston. And yeah, I mean, I Googled Boston iconic sports person. The first name that comes up is Larry Bird because he's just, I don't know, it's Larry Bird.
It's your algorithm. I'm just kidding. Of course it's Bird. I understand that. Let's go to Mike, who's in Syracuse. Mike, who'd we leave off here?
Well, I think you guys hit a lot of really good points, but I think, and this is going to probably get me in a lot of hot water, I would probably take Bobby Orr off of that list, and I would put Ray Bork on, merely because of the 20 years of toiling and being the best defenseman in the league for all those seasons. And there's also a little nugget, is that when Ray Bork left to go to Colorado and won a Stanley Cup, the city of Boston reached out and said, hey, do you want to bring that cup to Boston? And he said, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that to the organization. But the organization, the Bruins, reached out and said, yeah, do it ahead. Everybody here loves you so much, they want to see you happy. He brought that in 2001, and that city of Boston has been doing nothing but winning championships since then.
Oh, so you think this exercised some demons there?
It did. And here's
connection.
Here's a further little nugget to offset the supposed racism of Boston. In the sport of hockey, in the NHL, Boston was the team that broke the color barrier by pulling up Willie O'Ree. So they do get a little bit of credit for that.
Oh, Red Auerbach, too, was pretty progressive on
I know,
that
but
part.
then isn't it balanced out by Yawkey, who weren't they one of the last teams to integrate? But anyway.
Well, there's a lot of problems with that Boston baseball.
Yeah,
Wait,
sorry,
by the
let's
way,
talk about Yawkey. I got to get my names right
also,
there.
isn't Cam Neely like a big figure in Boston, too? Like, he's pretty involved in the community. I know because Dennis Leary does a huge benefit every year, which is a huge event in Boston with Cam Neely. He's a massive force.
He's still associated with the front office of that team that just let Brad Marchand walk and win a Stanley Cup with my beloved Florida Panthers.
Well, Mike, congrats. Hope you're still celebrating and appreciate that and bringing up Ray Bork and that story about him bringing the cup, even though he won it with Colorado back. And maybe that cleared the palate, Pearl, on curses and
Gosh, I'm, by the way,
demons.
looking at a Bleacher Report ranking. And it makes sense. It follows everything we were doing here. But it has Big Papi is 26.
Impossible.
It's insane. I mean, but the funny thing is their top 5 are exactly like ours. And then there's a gigantic, I don't know
what year is that?
Let's see. That's a great question.
Yeah, that.
2007.
Yeah, exactly.
2010.
Right, so it's before the 2013 World Series, before he did the
but
This Is Our
Manny
Bleepin'
22.
City.
It had, yeah.
That's like a time capsule.
Yeah, I don't think they knew about the PEDs as much. Okay.
Dominic is in San Francisco. Dominic, you want to back me up?
Absolutely. You can't. I mean, I'm not a Patriot fan. Matter of fact, I don't use the word hate much, and I won't. But you can't have Belichick without Brady or Brady without Belichick. Albeit the last 3 years, blah, 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 blah. That body of work during the 20-year period, they were made for each other. I also wanted to get all 4 sports in there, and I can't. Because you got to have Bill Russell and you got to have Larry Bird. So baseball, I think people think of the Green Monster more than they think of a particular player. And hockey, I couldn't do it. All 4 sports, when we get to Chicago, that's a slam dunk. But I'll leave that unsaid. But yes, I am with Maggie on this. I think you got to have Belichick in there, Brady, Bill Russell, and Larry Bird. And keeping in tune for the past couple of times we've played, the musical group or band, I've got a tie between Aerosmith and the Cars.
Oh, man, I love the Cars. Oh, Dominic.
And as far as those go, the songs, Dude Looks Like a Lady and Candy O.
All right.
Way to go down to the nitty gritty. I love it. Dom, thank you. Just a programming note, Chicago Mount Olympus is going to be June 27th on Monday. We pick this back up with Houston.
Well, I've based on it, I get ready for Phil Jackson based on Maggie's thinking.
Well, hold on one second. So Dominic brought up a good point. Not just that he backed up me with Belichick, Brady are attached at the hip, but the Green Monster just is the symbol, I guess, for the Red Sox. Is there any other? Have we been forgetting just
Lambeau could have been one.
Structures?
Lambeau, if for Milwaukee we could have done.
Yeah, Wrigley when we get to Chicago.
But that's a full stadium. This is just he didn't say Fenway.
Well, you could do
he
the
just
Ivy.
said the green monster. Yeah, you could do the Ivy, I guess. Do you need to get more specific than that? I didn't even think about doing an inanimate object.
San Francisco, you did the McCovey Cove.
We did say McCovey, but we didn't necessarily say, the Cove.
Pesky pole in Boston.
Yeah, I signed the pesky pole.
Did you?
I did. It's super cool. I didn't know that a lot of people do that until I sat right by there and I got to sign it. And it was the year they won the title. That was 2013.
Wow.
The prison in the basement of the Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia.
Did you write something snarky about the Mets in '86 or no?
No, I could have, but no, I was with a friend who's a Red Sox fan, so I want to be respectful.
There you go.
So just like EJ was here.
See, class act. That
and I was
EJ's
like,
doing.
man, imagine they go to the World Series and win a title, and my signature's there, and then they won, and I was like, oh my God, my signature's on the World Series pesky pole, and then I learned they painted every month. And I went in September. So literally the month before they won the World Series, I painted. I thought, oh, my name's going to be up there. And it's not now. If I would have went for the series finale before the playoffs started, my name would have been at the stadium when they won the title.
Dude, do you realize, you should sign something somewhere at Citi Field?
We think, were you trying to say this year we're going to win something?
I don't know.
Is some kind of prediction this part of the year of the drought, Maggie?
Just bring a Sharpie next time. I don't know. Sign a urinal. Not a urinal.
Yes, I
don't know. Sign something.
I guess. I don't know why I feel like I get caught. I'm just always paranoid.
Remember when Eli Manning, I think, signed Jerry World?
Yeah.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Okay, Connor McDavid. We do have to get to this story because the hockey world's on pins and needles about whether or not the best player, fresh off back-to-back Stanley Cup final losses, whether he's going to be on his way out of Edmonton. He spoke yesterday. I would not be feeling too confident if I was an Oiler fan right now. And for the rest of the league, well, this is exciting. Get to that. Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Remember when Manny discovered Aerosmith like 2 weeks ago? doing bands from Boston because we're talking about the 4 sports gods from Boston today. It's been very difficult. Can I switch gears just for 1 second? Because I was a little surprised by something. So we got interns now. Brandon's in with us today. And he was eating something this morning, and I was just like kind of surprised. And it was a bag full of Nilla wafers. And then EJ said that's his favorite cookie.
All-time number 1.
Guys, like, is this the Stone Age? We've evolved so far past vanilla, and I'm fine with like old school nostalgic stuff, but like as far as cookies are, if you're gonna eat cookies at 6:15 in the morning, I got 100 other better cookies for you.
No, Nilla wafer is actually the perfect cookie to eat this early because it's not as exotic a flavor as some of these other cookies you could have at this morning. It's more muted flavor, which is what you want. You don't want, I don't know, Oreo at 6 a.m. That's ridiculous.
Why not? You're talking about the breakfast cookie?
There's cream, there's chocolate, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, it's much better bang for your buck. I just didn't, Perloff's like Nilla wafers, everyone still likes them. Like, what are you guys talking about?
They're a thing. People like good with milk. I think you mentioned that.
Amazing with milk. That is, I mean, the amount of, during college, the vanilla wafers my mom had to buy week after week because I was just like housing them every week.
But see, that's the thing. This is where you lose me. If you're going milk and cookie combination, Oreo's going to win this one. You want to put that poll up? We got the Larry Bird, is he better known for the Celtics or being from Indiana, was going to be a lopsided poll. Give me what's a better cookie with milk, Oreo or Nilla wafer. It's going to be a bloodbath.
But not everyone loves chocolate, Maggie. And I'm not saying I dislike chocolate, but I'm not as like big a chocolate fan as maybe most. Like I don't really like chocolate cake.
Okay.
I like chocolate ice cream. That's probably the one thing I would say I definitely like for chocolate. But not everyone loves chocolate. So I don't know. I think vanilla wafers is a very good alternative if like Oreos are not your thing.
Man, I would put 100 other cookies before Nilla. You got like
100?
Yeah, you've got not just a chewy Chips Ahoy. Obviously, you got all different types of Oreos. I would just go like any kind of chocolate chip cookie, that Nantucket brand, whatever they are, Milanos, mint Milanos. I mean, don't get me started.
No, see the problem with chocolate chip cookies is the difference between the ones you buy in the store and the ones you home make are. It's got to be like the ones you home make are like literally like 150 times better.
No, it's the Grand Canyon.
The downgrade is so bad. It's like I don't really need a store-bought chocolate chip cookie ever.
Okay, see, it is the Grand Canyon between a homemade cookie and a store-bought cookie. But since the invention of the chewy, whatever that chemical is that they put in a chewy Chips Ahoy to make it chewy, it's closed the gap. It's not the Grand Canyon anymore. It's closer.
Oh, man. I just, all you got to do is just dip that milk with the vanilla wafer and it already gets soft. You don't got to like leave it in there for a long time. It's just, it's heaven. Oh, my gosh. I'm thinking about it right now.
I think it'll leave you feeling hollow. You're not even going to get full off of that.
Wait, sorry, because I've been zoned out for the last 3 minutes. Yeah. Have you guys gotten into the crumble thing?
No.
Because that's the cookie du jour, right?
What's that?
Crumble cookies?
Oh, the brand.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, it's a store, right?
As a store.
Yeah. Have you ever had one?
I have. I didn't like it.
Andre didn't like it either. My dad loves it.
It's too raw.
Yeah, I know. That's the best kind of cookie. I think that's why it's so hot.
Well, if you like cookie dough, which I'm assuming you do.
Like everyone.
I'm a human being.
But I want just a taste of cookie dough. I don't want to eat the whole cookie out of cookie dough.
Why not?
It gets old to me.
But I think they're like red hot. I think there's gigantic lines at everyone across the country.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of basketball players who have invested in them and then drop their names in post-game interviews as some kind of like advertisement.
Tobias Harris said they were Sixer fans and wanted to trade him for a crumble cookie.
Yeah, and then we found out he actually owns crumble cookies and he was just trying to get that subliminally out.
What's this cookie? Do you guys know this cookie where you can order it late at night?
Insomnia
cookies.
And is there a drug in there or something?
It's really good. I know that. It probably is. Insomnia
it's
cookies
called
are
sugar.
crack.
That's the drug.
But to me, those cookies though, Pearl, are almost closer to like homemade.
Yeah, those are regular cookies.
Like I take those kind of out of the conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm talking about something you get in a package,
I'm talking about
in the grocery store.
Yeah, something you went to the grocery store for.
Like where do you get a Nilla wafer?
Got it.
Yeah, because everybody loves crumble cookies apparently, except for Maggie and my fiance apparently.
Okay. So I see what you're saying. You're saying you're in the snack aisle and you need a package that you can put in your kid's lunch. That kind of thing.
Exactly.
And Entenmann's is too fancy for this conversation.
I mean, there's a Seinfeld reference that they're not in the aisle; they're at the end of the aisle.
Right. That's where I got Entenmann's from.
Yeah. But
I grew up with Tasty Cake in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Tasty Cakes are the best.
That we're getting into the whole Twinkie conversation, which is a different thing.
Twinkies, ho-hos,
Devil
ding
dogs.
dongs. Yeah.
Fried Twinkies, fried Oreos.
I would freeze devil dogs and have a frozen devil dog. Oh man!
See, this is a little more gourmet.
Maggie's trying to
Brandon
simplify
started
it.
this by eating Nilla wafers at 6:15. And I was like, "Did you get those out of the vending machine?" Nope, brought them from home.
I think the bigger thing is that he's the youngest person in the room eating the oldest cookie in this conversation.
And this thing is like from 1880s on the plains. Like there's better stuff out there.
I think kids are eating vanilla wafers. I think this idea that it may be old, but I think this thing that the vanilla wafers is washed, I don't think that's happened at all. I think people are still into vanilla wafers.
Man, I mean, you got like EL fudge cookie. I mean, we could just keep going.
Oh, what? What is that one?
An EL fudge?
I got you.
Is that the one with the elf?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
the elves are on the tree. Yeah, I guess Keebler, but they're circles and they've got stripes of
with chocolate on the bottom.
Yeah.
Now, Girl Scout cookies are, if you're talking about packaged cookies.
I got to be honest, I did not know about the EL fudge. I'm looking at it now. It looks quite delicious.
Thank you.
I don't think they had that when I was a kid.
Oh, they definitely did.
Keebler's that's their big cookie?
It's one of them.
Okay.
The one thing about Girl Scout cookies, and they're great, but now other companies are making them, so they're not so exclusive. Like I can get a caramel delight, whatever you call them.
Oh.
Any time of the year now. It's when you could only get them during Girl Scout cookie season. I thought it made the scarcity made it better.
Not to bring us down, but have you read any of the stuff about the ingredients in those?
I'm not doing that.
Yeah. It's,
what am I, RFK? No, if I'm going for a cookie.
Usually.
Generally. If I'm, minus the conspiracies. If I'm going for a cookie in the snack aisle, don't read the ingredients. You're defeating the point.
But I think you're actually probably better off with a Nilla wafer than the next level chemicals that are going into the delicious.
Don't be so sure.
Girl
They'll find
Scout
a way
cookie.
to get 1,000 ingredients into a Nilla wafer.
And I wouldn't ingest all of them.
Maggie, they invented it in 1898. They didn't have those ingredients. There's like space age polymers in Samoa.
Yeah. Do you want to know if you ask Google, are Nilla wafers healthy? Your laptop just blows up. No, they're not healthy.
I'm sure
Are they
Aaron
healthy?
Overview will tell you that it is.
We're not saying they're broccoli.
They're not good. I can find some other food scores for you. This isn't to make our intern feel bad. I was just surprised that he was eating them. Bogusch, let's get to your headlines.
Yes, they have a second.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No.
It's cookie research.
Yes, they have a second chance at their first NBA title. And yes, that chance does come at home. But will the Thunder regret letting the Pacers off the mat last night? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, not the MVP in Game 6. Just 21 points. He had 8 of his team's 21 turnovers in a 108-91 thumping in Indy.
The way I see it is we suck tonight. We have to learn the lessons. And we have one game for everything we've worked for. And so do they. And the better team Sunday will win.
OKC was down 22 at the half last night, down 30 through 3 quarters. The starters watching the fourth from the bench. Jalen Williams was a minus 40 last night, the worst mark in a finals game that we know of. So the series goes the distance for the first time in 9 years. The Pacers staying alive with another balanced effort. A team-high 20 points from Obi Toppin, 13 boards from Pascal Siakam. TJ McConnell at 12 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, and 4 steals. And Tyrese Haliburton overcame his calf issue to produce 14 points and 5 assists. Game 7 on Sunday night in OKC. The Dodgers and Padres don't play again until August. Doubt they will like each other by then. San Diego winning last night 5-3, avoiding a 4-game sweep. But most importantly, the bench is cleared after Fernando Tatis Jr. was hit on the hand by a pitch in the 9th. Manager Mike Shildt was out of the dugout first, yelling at LA skipper Dave Roberts.
Teams that I manage don't get into altercations like this because teams I manage don't throw at people. But also teams I manage don't take anything. And after a while, I'm not going to take it. And I'm not going to take it on behalf of Toddy. I'm not going to take it on behalf of our team, intentional or unintentional. It's really that simple.
Let's go back to the beginning where he said, my teams don't throw at guys. His guy hit Shohei Ohtani in the bottom half of the 9th inning last night. Ohtani then told his teammates to stay in the dugout, so there was no more pushing and shoving.
Was that even 20 minutes later?
It couldn't have been.
Yeah.
Tatis, by the way, needed post-game x-rays on that hand. They were negative, but further testing expected today. The Indiana Fever, an 88-77 loss at the expansion Valkyries last night. Caitlin Clark, just 11 points, 3 of 14 shooting, including 0 of 7 from downtown. The Mercury handed the Liberty their first home loss, second overall, 89-81 in Brooklyn. U.S. men's soccer beat Saudi Arabia 1-0 to clinch a spot in the Gold Cup quarterfinals. And Scotty Scheffler, an 8-under-62 to share the lead after round 1 of the Travelers Championship. Rory McIlroy in a group tied for second, 2 shots off that lead. Guys,
Hey,
back to you.
If the U.S. wins the Gold Cup, does that mean Pulisic's off the hook? Is that story go away?
No, I think a new story comes up as like, oh, are they potentially better without Pulisic?
Yeah, really?
Which is going to be a great radio and great conversation, but probably not great for the team.
No, for Pulisic, he needs them to get destroyed. Like, you need me more than anything.
But you can't possibly say the team's better without him. Are we really going to go there?
I wouldn't go there, but I'm sure people will do it.
Well, the other thing that might happen here soon is, because the head coach, Pochettino, talked about this the other day, is they might punish Pulisic by leaving him off a roster for the friendlies coming up, which is one of those vacating wins. It's not a punishment, but it is a punishment.
Right.
So this is not going to go away no matter what until we get to the World Cup, because that's the only thing that matters.
Right. No, but this is funny because it's the people who think that they're better off without him. This is like the Red Sox crowd that thinks it's better that Rafael Devers isn't there, of which I think Perloff might be one of them.
Yeah, I don't know.
The addition by subtraction thing. I don't buy it.
No, like EJ said, there's really not a group of people who are going to say that they're better without him. You can't make that argument.
Yeah.
He's the best American player.
Well, and to be honest, I actually don't think what he did was so egregious. I mean, if the guy is feeling like he can't play, like he needs a break, and the World Cup's coming up in a year, I understand that the Gold Cup is important, but it seems like a lot of soccer players take a break, even the ones that were criticizing him.
Well, I thought the whole point was the international superstars do not. They all go to these kind of things.
Right, but I mean, to your point, Bogusch, what's the most important thing?
Oh, it's the World Cup.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm not trying to make it so simple, but...
Well, you just said a lot of guys take this time off, and the thing is they don't.
No, that's what Pulisic's dad called out Landon Donovan because he literally took a break.
That's your model?
Just saying.
A lot of American guys take it off.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Tim Howard also was criticizing Pulisic while also acknowledging that he also took time off.
But Cristiano Ronaldo at age 41 is weeping at some whatever.
If Maggie has to take a 2025, can I have to take a 2026 here?
What is it?
Christian Pulisic will become American hero for his performance in the World Cup next year. I think he's going to use this, and he's going to go crazy next year.
God.
Yeah, he should. I mean, he's our best chance.
Right.
Take the greatest show bet of all time and multiply it by 5 million. And I will guarantee the United States does not win the Gold Cup. So, how far do you have to go to get to this
I think if they get to the quarterfinals, and I think he'll have multiple goals, big goals. I think he plays awesome. This is a guy that's playing high-level international soccer. We know he's a great player. I think all this hubbub, I think he's gonna come up next year and it's gonna be like, oh, right, that's why we were so mad at him, because he's so good.
Wait, you think the U.S. team is going to get to the quarterfinals of the World Cup? Is that?
No, they often do.
I mean, they've gotten to the round 16. That's been haven't got past the quarterfinals since I think 04 or
Wait,
02.
quarterfinals at 8 or 16?
That's 8.
Oh,
yeah. They're going to get out of group play and they win a game. And Pulisic, again, kind of like Maggie, feels more like a prediction than a take. But I think he's going to go crazy next year.
I'd hope so. I mean, he is our best shot. He is our best chance. He should be a great story.
When did we get the groups?
When did they announce it?
Yeah.
What, a month before?
Fall, right?
That's right up. It's not 6 months before. I guess that's a huge part of this, right?
Yeah.
I know they do the big show.
Yeah,
this is also
the show is amazing.
I think this is also the first time that the field's expanded. So there's more teams in and more teams to move on, different ways they're doing it. So we have to learn that too.
Oof, it's a lot to learn.
Yeah. By the way, their best finish in modern World Cup history is the 02 quarterfinals. They made the semis in 1930, and that's it.
Right when the Nilla wafer was invented.
Yeah.
Nilla wafers flying off the shelves.
Yeah, my great-grandfather was eating vanilla wafers cheering on the World
That was
Cup.
the AI of 1930, Nilla wafers.
And meanwhile, our intern's also eating Nilla wafers. So I guess everything's old is new again. Okay, thank you, Bogues. Connor McDavid, what did he have to say about his future? This is a huge deal. He's the best player in hockey. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He did a press conference yesterday in Edmonton, and yeah, wouldn't be too confident. Get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right. This NASCAR race preview is sponsored by WeatherGuard Truck and Van Equipment. They're just as driven as the hardworking pros they serve.
And we have the Great American Getaway 400 presented by VisitPA.com getting underway on Sunday at 2 p.m. at the Pocono Raceway. Catch all the action on Prime or SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90.
EJ, that's your neighborhood. You know the Poconos, right?
Yeah. My family from Lehigh Valley, so it's about 40 minutes out from where we live.
Nice job, Connor. Make sure to check that out. Okay, yesterday we had Connor McDavid, who was speaking to the media, Pearl, because he's got a massive decision to make. He's got 1 year left on his deal. Edmonton just lost in the Stanley Cup final again, and even though it was 6 games and 3 of those games went to overtime, this actually was a historically dominant performance by his opponent, by the Florida Panthers. So, now he's kind of left to pick up the pieces. He's the greatest player in the league right now, but he has no ring. So here's McDavid, not in a rush to make this decision about his future with the Oilers.
Only been a couple days since the season ended. Take some time to regroup. Talk to my agent a little bit and family and all that, and make some decisions whenever that time comes. But there's no rush on anything like that.
I mean, you don't love it when he's like, I got to talk to my agent about this. It's like, oh, my agent who's going to shop me around to get the best deal. Presumably that's their job. The agent is to make you the most money and make you the happiest.
But he has a cautious tone, but don't you have to have that just in case? You can't be like, oh, I definitely want to be back here and then leave. At least he's leaving the door open.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If I'm in Edmonton, I'm generally very nervous that you're invoking your agent. And then the whole doing what's best for my family stuff. I mean, we all know where that generally leads, which is out the door. More from McDavid. He says, obviously, winning is his top priority when he's making a decision about the future.
Winning would be at the top of the list, and then, winning would be it's the most important thing. If I feel that there's a good window to win here over and over again, then signing is no problem.
Right. If I feel that, well, you're in the organization. You got your sidekick, Draisaitl, signed to an 8-year deal. He said, he thinks that this core is good enough to get over the hump, but they haven't yet. And here's the thing, Perloff, why I mentioned it was a 6-game series, but historically dominant by Florida. Sometimes not all finals are created equal. Sometimes you can get there and yet still weirdly feel far away.
Like the Mavs last year in the NBA Finals.
Right. Or even, so 2 years ago when the Oilers and the Panthers first met, it was Florida got out to a 3-0 lead and then Edmonton stormed back to force a Game 7 and then they lost. So it's been two weird series. I don't know how you gauge how close you are to the cup when both those things happen.
No, hockey's also quite erratic. I mean, it's hard to predict. Like number 1 seed, it's not like typically NBA, the best team usually gets through. You have a sense. Hockey's not always like that at all, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But there's a couple calls I want him to make.
Okay.
I want him to call Bryce Harper and find out what it's like to be a superstar in Philadelphia.
Oh, please.
And I want him to call Jalen Hurts. Let's bring him on. That's the best thing about this Connor McDavid. All of a sudden, all these cities get to fantasize about getting Connor McDavid.
Well, I'm already seeing in the chat McDavid Matthews Maple Leafs. I mean, yeah, everyone. See, this is what these kind of comments. And I'm not saying that McDavid is wrong to be sort of tepid here. You're right. He shouldn't be. You don't come in and make any big declarations, especially if your mind's not made up. So he's doing the right thing, but now you've opened up the door for some panic on the Edmonton side, and then also for people salivating and licking their chops at some of the bigger markets.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of markets are into this one. Can I keep on with? There's a young Flyers winger named Matvei Michkov who apparently people want to pair with him. Let's go. It's funny, I'm seeing all the Northeast cities going after him. Does he have to get to a bigger media market? And by the way, if it was the NBA, we would say Adam Silver is clearly going to pull some behind-the-scenes shenanigans and make this happen. Do we need a version of Gretzky going to LA and McDavid going to a bigger media market to get the NHL to the next level? Because the ratings were not good on the finals.
No, which is funny because it's funny because I think there still is an appetite for hockey because the Four Nations Cup was like the biggest success that we've had. That was an unbelievable, awesome thing. It seemed like the NHL kind of tripped on, and it captured our imagination. So I think there is an appetite. There is definitely an appetite for hockey to be much bigger than it is right now.
Well, I mean, part of the problem, I think that's changing from ESPN to TNT. Maybe there's some adjustment time on that. I think that's hurts baseball too. That football. One thing, say what you want about football, you know where to find it on TV. I'm not sure that has hurt hockey over the last few years. I think McDavid has got to be the singular force in the sport. He's got to be the Caitlin Clark of the sport. She's much younger than him.
And she's not in a big market.
That's true. You got it. But Edmonton is pretty far away. You have to be honest.
Well, I mean, it's hockey, so I think maybe it's a little bit different.
But when Gretzky came to LA, that changed the entire sport.
Coming up next week, the Mount Olympus of Maggie and Perloff continues. The 4 sports gods from every major sports city. Next week, we hit Houston on Monday, Phoenix on Tuesday, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on Wednesday, Baltimore Thursday, Chicago on Friday. So make sure to join us next week for all of that. Thank you to EJ Stewart. Thank you, Connor Armstrong. Thank you to our intern, Brandon. Thank you to Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan. See you.